We welcome you to Fenway Park in Boston. It's day baseball. It's Fox Saturday Baseball from Fenway. Lansdowne Street outside the ballpark. It's game 2 of a 3-game series between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Now the Red Sox with 107 wins on the year. They have guaranteed home field throughout. A tremendous season for the Red Sox as we flip to the other side. And today, the New York Yankees could win their 100th game. They've got 99 wins, and they have clinched home field for the AL wildcard game. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, along with David Cohn, A.J. Pierzynski, and J.P. Morosi in a bit. As today, the Red Sox and Yankees meet in game 2 of the series, and the Yankees are very happy to have Didi Gregorius back, David. He's a guy who injured his wrist, and it was in last night's lineup and back in there again today.
Well, yeah, that would have been a sore loss for the Yankees. He is almost the de facto captain at this point, both on the infield defensively and then offensively, that left-handed bat, breaking up those right-handers that the Yankees have in the middle of their order. So a big sigh of relief in Yankees universe that Didi Gregorius is okay and good to go.
And A.J. Pierzynski on the other side for the Boston Red Sox. You get a guy coming in here, and Alex Cora changes the culture. This year, the Red Sox have an historic season.
An all-time record for wins for the Boston Red Sox in Alex Cora's first year, but they're led by offense. Chris Sale, David Price, the pitching staff doesn't mean anything without these 4 guys. Benintendi, Betts, Bogaerts. Those 3 guys are having career years. Mookie Betts probably the AL MVP. Benintendi doing everything. Bogaerts' first career 100 RBI season. But the guy for me that sticks out, J.D. Martinez. This guy had a shot at the Triple Crown. Kind of fell off a little bit, but his home run production and the presence that he brings in this Boston Red Sox lineup has changed everything. And that's why the Red Sox lead the MLB in runs and have one of the best lineups in all of baseball.
Red Sox dropping the game last night. The Yankees trying to get back after it today. It's September baseball. It's day baseball from Fenway. It's the Yankees and Red Sox. Fox Saturday Baseball coming your way next. today as the Red Sox and Yankees meet for the second time in 3 days. Some clouds up there, but 71 degrees. Humidity at 57% on the forecast. Sunny. A lot of this the rest of the day as the Yankees and Red Sox. Now, Nathan Eovaldi on the hill for the Red Sox, and back on August the 4th of 2018, a dazzling performance. He's certainly capable of this and really has pitched quite well for the Red Sox since coming over today. Will make his 21st start of the year.
Yes, and the thing about Nathan Eovaldi is he's been around the league on several different teams. Nobody can quite figure out, AJ, how he ever gets hit. 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's developed a splitter over the years. It's been always above average, but now this cutter that everybody talks about, and he's throwing a lot of them nowadays, over 30% of the time. When a pitch leaves his hand, it's going to be a cutter, and that's the revised repertoire as the Red Sox have worked with him on going more north and south with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball, which should serve him well with that cutter and splitter. And the playoff role still to be determined. He could be a weapon out of the pen, but you have the feeling that if the Yankees can get by the wild card game in the Oakland A's, and that's not an easy task, then Nathan Eovaldi would slide into the 4 spot and start against the Yankees in one of those games.
Check out the lineup that he will face today. Brett Gardner leading it off end in left field. Andrew McCutchen in right. Aaron Hicks in center. Giancarlo Stanton is the DH with Didi Gregorius at shortstop. Miguel Andujar is at third base with Greg Bird at first. Austin Romine does the catching. Gleyber Torres at second base bats ninth for a Yankees team who, again, with a victory today, will have won 100 games this year, but will not have won the division. That's truly remarkable, but gives you an idea of what the Red Sox have done.
Yeah, and the Red Sox just ran away with it, AJ, this year, and just a remarkable, dominating performance.
People are talking about the Yankees like they're having a terrible year. You win 99 games, chance to win 100. That's a great year in Major League Baseball. And Aaron Boone's taking some heat because they're behind the Red Sox, but the Red Sox are having a historic year.
Now Brett Gardner leading it off here in the first inning. Eovaldi's certainly part of the playoff picture for the Red Sox, so he's getting a look today and see how deeply into this game he goes. Maybe 3 innings. We'll see how it goes. It'll be kind of a bullpen day for both because not playing for anything here really today now after the victory last night for the Yankees. They come in, get the victory, and really huge for them to have now secured home field for the wild card rather than having to go all the way out to Oakland.
Well, nobody wants to go to Oakland, fly cross country, and play I've played a playoff series in Oakland, and it's crazy out there. The fans are crazy. The atmosphere is crazy. So for the Yankees, a huge win.
Close pitch. Eovaldi wanted it. Vasquez wanted it, but called a ball.
Sometimes the umpire gets locked up, too. We talked about the cutter that Eovaldi throws, maybe just around the plate a little bit.
That's a strike. It went all the way around the white of the plate.
Plate umpire Manny Gonzalez today calling the balls and strikes with Laz Diaz at third, Jeff Nelson crew chief at second, and Nick Lentz the umpire at first base. Lots of sunshine here today at Fenway Park. Outfield playing straight away on Brett Gardner. Not much of a breeze really from left to right, if anything. And a chopper left side as Devers cuts it off. Throw is off the mark, and it pulls Moreland at first base. Reaching is Brett Gardner.
Ball to Devers left. Goes after, does everything right, gets a good hop. Just didn't get his feet quite set. Got underneath the ball. Pulled Mitch Moreland off the bag. Just got to get your feet set a little bit more. You see his shoulders aren't square, cause his elbow to drop. The ball sail up the line. Mitch Moreland does everything he can, but unfortunately for Devers, it's an E5.
Now Andrew McCutchen coming up here for New York, and he has been a great get for the Yankees. Really a good piece to add to this team. Already a very good team, but he's been a big part of the end here.
Yeah, and really kind of reinvented himself as a leadoff hitter nowadays. As former middle of the order guy in Pittsburgh during his MVP type years, but he has solved the problem for the Yankees at the top of the order, and you can expect him to be their leadoff hitter throughout the postseason.
Even over Gardner.
Yes.
Gardner will hit ninth.
Gardner might not be in the lineup.
Wow. Wow. Gardner's a pretty good player to have sitting on the bench. Options. Aaron Boone has lots of options.
Now Andrew McCutchen, the face of the franchise for the Pittsburgh Pirates for so long, ends up going to the Giants to begin the year. Giants had a couple of guys who were faces of their franchise that they added. Evan Longoria, of course, face of the Rays, goes there. a subpar season for the Giants, and then McCutchen ends up going to New York, and great addition. And really today, in listening to Aaron Boone speaking glowingly of what McCutchen has done, not only on the field but in the clubhouse since he joined the Yankees.
He fit right in. He's such a great personality. And he became a leader in there in a short period of time as his teammates just embraced him. But he really does have a different approach nowadays. And Aaron Boone talked to us before the game and talked about he just does not swing at balls. Controls the strike zone. Well over 400 on base percentage at the top of the order for the Yankees since he's come over.
You were talking about Aaron Boone, a guy who has taken some heat here this year. I mean, it is remarkable. They got 99 wins.
It is true. And the expectations were so high for the Yankees this year.
Elevating, and McCutchen chases. First strikeout of the day for Eovaldi. One down. It's time for the Ford keys to the game.
For the Yankees, a healthy day. Just get through these last two games healthy. With the Didi Gregorius scare, Aaron Judge coming back. Just get through these. Treat them like spring training. Hicks was out for a while. Just be healthy and be ready for that one-game playoff. And Red Sox, a bullpen days. Eovaldi starting, but the possibility of Stephen Wright coming in, Rodriguez coming in. These guys get used to these roles because they don't know what they're going to be doing in the postseason. So learn your role, get adjusted to it, and Alex Cora wants to see what they can do in different situations.
One down, runner at first, and brings up Aaron Hicks. Another guy that Aaron Boone pointed to today. I mean, a guy that is underrated for the kind of year that he's had, kind of athlete that he is.
Switch hitter, really nailed down center field, can hit in the middle of the order, and also is another guy who really controls the strike zone. And in the new school where batting average is kind of diminished, his on base percentage really shines through. His power, getting on base, speed, and good defense.
Red Sox shifting on the right side here on Aaron Hicks. Now they keep it tight to the infield. The double play possibility still in order. After the strikeout of McCutchen, first K of the day for Eovaldi.
So, Coney, you see the Yankees a ton, obviously, doing games for yes. Hicks, I remember when he came up for the Twins, first-round pick, big prospect. He kind of struggled in Minnesota. What did the Yankees do to make him become the player that he's become for them?
I think it really does come down to strike zone management, especially from the left side. He just stopped swinging at bad pitches, started working the count, getting on base.
This one laced foul down the right field line into the grandstand. Hicks with a home run last night, 1 of 4 for the Yankees. He wasn't entirely sure that he got it. Head down, kind of flipped it, but ends up getting out of the yard. Much to his surprise, as it turned out.
Must be a good feeling to be that strong. Think you missed one and it goes into the bullpen, because it's a long way, especially at Fenway Park, into that right field bullpen. So
the Yankees were expected to hit a lot of home runs this year, and they did that.
Yeah, they are sitting on the all-time lead right now, 1 home run away from shattering the record.
If Gleyber Torres today from the 9 spot can get a home run, that means that everybody in the order 1 through 9 would have at least 20 home runs in a season. It's sitting at 19 right now, the number 9 hitters in the Yankees order. That's remarkable.
That is from the 9 hole, a 20 home run potential production. You know, obviously multiple players have hit 9th this year, so it's not just one guy, but nonetheless, that tells you the story of the Yankees. It's the Bronx Bombers, and they are back in that regard.
Aaron Boone, he didn't know that stat when we talked to him earlier, and he kind of lit up when we told him that. And we were saying we could see some creative 9 holes maybe if Gleyber Torres doesn't hit one today. We might. Stanton might get a pinch hit in the 9th tomorrow. Judge might get a pinch hit to try to get to 20.
I want to ask you about Aaron Boone too, because of course Joe Girardi at the helm here. Successful team last year, went deep into the postseason. I think surprised some people with how deeply they went into the postseason. What has been the difference in Aaron Boone? As striking out is Hicks, 2 down.
You know, I think there is an even-keeledness to Aaron Boone that has changed the culture in the clubhouse. And if you talk to the younger players, if you talk to the beat writers, and this is not a knock on Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi was great for 10 years. Sometimes managers have a shelf life in New York and in Boston and major markets, and that's probably more of anything that kind of got Girardi. But Aaron Boone has really changed the culture of the clubhouse, and there is an easiness about this team, and it's a new school attitude in terms of support. You know, not getting on the guys in the press, really taking it behind the scenes in terms of, you know, dealing with players individually and communication. And that's the new school way. It's all about communication behind the scenes with the players.
And AJ, really the same thing could be said here, where it appeared the Red Sox are a little bit on the tight side. They changed from John Farrell to Alex Cora, and instantly it's sort of relaxed around here and equals 107 wins so far this year.
It's amazing these two rookie managers have come to these storied franchises and kind of made such a difference. Joe Girardi, great manager, World Series champion, done so many things. John Farrell, same thing, World Series champion, did so many things, but just change it. Alex Cora today was like, hey guys, you got to get out of my office. I got to go talk to my players. John Farrell, I don't think ever did that, at least when I was here. So it's just a different thing. They want to know that these guys are young. They understand the culture and the lifestyle of these players today, and they want to get out and engage them. And that's a huge thing for a player to know their manager has their back and will sit down and not just talk about baseball, but talk about life and family and things that happen off the field. I mean, that's cool. That makes you feel like, hey, I'm really part of this team.
Now, 2 down, Gardner at first with a good sized lead, and Stanton will take a pitch up and away.
You know, the other thing that's interesting, Don, to me is to see the evolution the first year for Aaron Boone and Cora for that matter, and how much their opinions have changed over the course of the year, with analytics department embedded with both teams, very progressive in nature.
Line, a fair ball down the left field line into the corner as Gardner is headed for third, maybe beyond. He's going to be waved around by Nevin. Benintendi's throw, well, it's not going to get there. Scoring all the way from first is Gardner, and the Yankees strike first. It's Stanton who drives in the game's first run.
Trying to come in, looks like a front door cutter with the way it came out of his hand, meaning he started at Stanton, didn't fool him a bit. That's a dangerous pitch. Stanton rifles it down the left field line. Benintendi's playing so far in the gap, no chance of getting Brett Gardner, especially with 2 outs. Phil Nevin waving him home, scores easily, no throw, but that's a dangerous pitch, Coney. That front door slider cutter to a righty, it better start right at him and buckle him, because otherwise that ball can go a long, long ways.
Yeah, it seemed like Stanton saw it the whole way.
So 2 down, Stanton at second base brings up Didi Gregorius, and we highlighted him off the top when the injury took place to the wrist. The Baltimore home plate, it did not look good. Looked like maybe the end of the year for Gregorius. Not only is it not the end of the year, but he comes back last night and starting the day game after the night game.
Yeah, and really he got the injury on a slide to home plate on a game-winning run and didn't even realize his wrist was hurt. Wasn't until that night or the next day he showed up and they figured out that they had a problem.
There's the slide you were talking about for the Yankees, and he's a big part of what they do.
And this was a fairly dramatic game that was back and forth, and obviously the Yankees needed wins to secure the wild card, and that slide, it was his right wrist that kind of got caught behind him just a bit, but really didn't know it till he woke up the next day.
So you got all the adrenaline running and not realizing you actually injured yourself in a pretty big way.
That's why you never slide head first into home plate, Coney. I was taught that. Everyone's taught don't slide. Now with the new rules of catchers not blocking the plate, guys do it more and more often. You've seen this kind of happen a few times. You saw it to AJ Pollock, I think, did it to him last year or 2 years ago, and then Didi. There's guys that are doing it now more and more. And the old rules were, if as a catcher, if the guy came in home plate head first, you put him on the shelf. Not trying to hurt him, but you made him know that don't do that. But now because you can't touch the guy, guys do it, and it leads to injuries. It's tough. There's holes at home plate. It's not smooth. I mean, there's things you can get your fingers caught on, and unfortunately for Didi, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. He kind of got his wrist caught in a groove.
So AJ, 6th all-time in catching as far as games caught. What do you think of the new rules about?
Don't get me started, please.
You're not happy about it, I can tell.
No, I hate it. I used to love getting run over. It's part of the game, man. Let's go. Bring it on, big boy.
Something about you makes me realize you're not lying.
I'm not lying. I loved it.
You like to be run over. That's what is fouled off.
I loved it. It's kind of like the second base rule. I mean, I'm all for taking out the play where, like, Hal McRae tackled the guy at second base, Willie Randolph. Plays like that are wrong, but a clean slide into second, you should be able to touch the guy at least a little bit. Save your guy hitting behind you. That was the whole key. Like, you took pride in, hey, I'll save that guy a double play ball by getting this guy at second, and now at home plate, hey, I can run the catcher over and get an extra run for my teammate, get an RBI for a guy. With all that gone, it's like, okay, nobody touch anybody. Let's play nice in the sandbox.
You like the contact?
I did. I mean, I was thrown at so much, and David Cone probably threw at me once. So
Check swing on the 1-2. It'll miss, and it's even at 2-2 to Didi Gregorius.
You got me when I was an old man, just hanging on. Actually pitching for the Red Sox. I faced
That's
AJ.
Right. 2001.
Yes.
Next pitch will be the 25th of this inning for Eovaldi. Wanted to be briefer here in the first inning than it has been. He's allowed a run, stand at second base. And a swing and a miss on a pitch down and in. Ends up striking out the side, but the Yankees end up with a run in the first. Red Sox are coming up from Fenway. Starting nine for the Red Sox. Adam Benintendi in left field with Brock Holt, Brock Star, shortstop batting second. J.D. Martinez, the DH, with Rafael Devers in the cleanup spot today. Mitch Moreland at first base, Ian Kinsler at second base. Jackie Bradley Jr. manning center field. Blake Swihart gets another start at right. He's made a few this week. Christian Vasquez does the catching and bats ninth. Domingo Germán on the mound for New York.
Domingo Germán made some starts this year, as you see, 13 of them. This will be his 14th on the year, and had some success. And then it was a little inconsistent with the strike zone. As you can see, the home runs 15 given up and 32 walks is a little bit much.
21st appearance, 14th start for the right-hander. 2-6 mark with an ERA over 5. And likely a bullpen day again for New York also. Got enough of them. We just watched them walk out there to the pen. I mean, it's a full contingent. Roster's definitely expanded this September in a big way. Yankees have 36.
You could just see that Aaron Boone and his body language was different this morning, that he could relax, that they have home field secured. And believe me, that was creating a little stress for the entire Yankees organization to get that over with.
Still got to play the Oakland A's, but certainly different to play them at home than having to go out there, as you mentioned. That's one of the more loud crowds you'll see in Major League Baseball, especially in that type of atmosphere.
Well, they take a lot of heat, Oakland does, for not getting huge crowds, but the 15 to 20,000 that come out there every night are amazing. The flags they wave, I swear they have a high school marching band out there that plays between hitters. I mean, they're all over you out there, and they're close to the dugout. There's no hiding in the dugout.
On the ground with a shift on by the down of Torres. Up the middle into center. And Benintendi starts today with a single back up the middle.
Nobody wants to fly cross country to have to play one game. That's a long ways to go, especially to Oakland. Being in Boston, they have to fly all the way. This 5.5, 6 hour flight. I know it's chartered planes and I get all that, but still, it's a long ways to go. And you're in the Oakland visiting locker room. Coney, you can speak on this also, and Don. That locker room is not the nicest in the league.
No.
Especially if you're traveling with a bunch of people, 35 people, and all the peripheral people that the Yankees have. It's not a comfortable place to be for no matter how long you're there.
And then to bounce right back and have to play Boston. Either team, whether you're the A's or the Yankees, who get through that game.
And a lot of talk about who is going to start that game. It appears the guy that started last night, Jay Happ, is as good as any to start that game for New York.
It just seems like he's the one that's lined up, that he's the one that they feel comfortable with in that spot.
He's been their best pitcher. Jay Happ, since he's come over, has been their best pitcher. So Severino's had numbers, he's an all-star, all that stuff, but you see the struggles they've had, and then, man, what stands out to you right there? Jay Happ, 7-0, 2.69 ERA since Happ came over to the Yankees. I think it's an easy choice. I don't know why there's any debate.
Well, for me, the debate would be that Severino's been your best pitcher for the last 2 years, and he's a Ferrari that throws 100 miles an hour. And I have a hard time leaving the Ferrari in the garage. I've said this before, that he's a big reason why you're here. So the argument for Severino would be just that. The smaller sample size since Jay Happ's been here, yeah, if you want to slice it up over 6 weeks or 2 months, and you could say, yes, well, Severino's struggling, but Severino's been one of the best pitchers over the last 2 years. He's third in the league in Cy Young last year. He's got the best stuff.
He also pitched a wild card game not that long ago and didn't go so well. The Ferrari had maybe got some bad gas or something. It was sputtering along the way.
No doubt, that's the argument for Happ, absolutely. But you could make a strong argument either way. Even Masahiro Tanaka has been a big game pitcher for the Yankees. One thing Aaron Boone did say this morning in our meeting was that when he says all hands on deck, he means all hands on deck. And he would use Severino in relief in that game if needed.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was pretty clear. This one is grounded through the right side, the base hit. Benintendi headed to third. He will get there without a problem. And the Red Sox have runners at the corners with nobody out in the first inning.
Good hitting by Brock Holt. Use what the defense gives you. When there's a runner on first, you're a left-handed hitter. You can hit a 6-hopper through the first base side for a base hit. Speed of Benintendi easily goes first to third, but use that 4-hole. Benintendi, good read. McCutchen not going to come up throwing. Wants to keep the double play in order. Throws it right into second, especially the first inning. But as a left-handed hitter, there's a lot of hits to roll over through that 3-hole, 3-4-hole.
The Red Sox have won their third straight division title, and J.D. Martinez new to it this year, but 42 home runs, 127 runs batted in. He is the biggest difference from last year to this year as far as what this Red Sox offense looks like.
He's the guy. David Ortiz last year, yes, they won the division title in 2017, the Red Sox, but they were missing that true home run threat. J.D. Martinez has stepped right in and taken over for David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez before David. These guys in the middle that the Red Sox are known for. They're known for these big right-handed mashers, and J.D. Martinez is that guy.
Slowly grounded down the third baseline. That's going to go foul.
For a long time, I thought J.D. Martinez was probably the MVP. But because of the defense and what Mookie Betts has done, he's kind of taken over for me. But J.D. Martinez is a special player. Not only just his presence in the lineup, but what he's taught these guys about how to hit in situations. This guy films every swing in batting practice. And runners in scoring position, runners not in scoring position. This guy, there's an old saying, you're in scoring position when he's in the batter's box. Well, J.D. Martinez is in scoring position every time he gets in the batter's box because he can drive himself in.
It seems like every day when you look at the Red Sox box score this year, this guy had 2 or 3 hits every game.
.330 batting average, 42 home runs, 127 RBIs. And went around there and strikes out. So Germán strikes out Martinez for the first out here of the first inning.
Well, Germán does have strikeout stuff. He's got a really good breaking ball that has swing and miss capability, and this running 2-seam fastball, you can see that late biting movement on it in the mid-90s. So he's got a big time arm.
That was dirty. That's a pitch as a hitter. You don't want to see that pitch again. J.D. Martinez is going back to the dugout saying, wow, I didn't know he had that movement.
Here is Rafael Devers, and this guy has played himself into the third baseman, it appears, with what he's done here at the end of the year.
Yeah, he's just so good with that bat in his hands. Both, it's interesting, Miguel Andujar and Rafael Devers both have made their errors at third base defensively, but they both are dangerous with the bat in their hands, and they can do damage, and not only damage, but hit the ball over the wall as well in a big game.
Devers already charged with an error in the top half of this, the first inning, on a throwing error. Devers with 21 home runs during the year.
He's only 21 years old, too. So anytime you hit as many homers as you are old, as your age, that's a good year. People think this guy's like 30 years old. He's been here so long now, a couple years. He's only 21 years old. This guy, long way to grow.
Now with more, we send it down to J.P. Morosi.
Well, Don, the big thing the Red Sox have noticed with Devers recently has been he is more selective at the plate. Of course, the question will then come, Don, during the playoffs, does he start against every lefty pitcher, given that the Red Sox also have Eduardo Nunez?
It'll be interesting to see what happens here, and they have so many guys now who will be in that starting lineup and against who. All things that are being discussed right now as they get ready, and that's one thing that the Red Sox certainly have the time to do, is to get themselves set while the Yankees have to worry about getting through that game against Oakland. And as you said, Aaron Boone had said that they may use everybody in that game. You may see a few starters.
Well, it would be interesting because he's also said, as you see, another good pitch by Herman on an 0-2 pitch. Catches him looking. And Herman, as we said before, he can strike you out, and this is the breaking ball. Even though it stays up, he gets the call. Devers doesn't like it. Not what he was trying to do.
That's a hanger. Sometimes the hangers are the best ones, especially when they fool a guy like it did Devers. He kind of buckled, gave up on it, and Manny Gonzalez behind the plate's ringing him up.
First and third, 2 down, and Mitch Moreland standing in. Got the second baseman Gleyber Torres out in short right field. A shift here for New York. Herman trying to pitch his way out of trouble, gave up base hits to Benintendi and Holt to begin things here in the first inning, but back-to-back Ks of J.D. Martinez and Rafael Devers, and it's first and third with 2 away.
So AJ, you could conceivably see in a wild card game J-Happ start the first 2 innings or 3 and cruise right through, and Aaron Boone's going to make a change anyway. Maybe go to Severino following up J-Happ. That is on the table according to Aaron Boone, so that certainly is all hands on deck. It will be interesting to see how that game is managed.
Well, he mentioned Tanaka, he mentioned Sabathia could come out of the bullpen. All guys that have been starters.
This is to left, and Gardner shading his eyes will make the catch that ends the inning. Red Sox will strand a pair, done with 1. The Yankees have a 1-0 lead. Sponsored by Verizon. Now go mix and match family unlimited plans. Back in the beautiful city of Boston, Red Sox and Yankees meeting. Day baseball from Fenway, and it's 1-0 New York. And Duhar grounds one to Kinsler at second for the first out of the second inning. One pitch and one out here in the second for Nathan Eovaldi. Bring up Greg Bird. Talk about these Yankees youngsters too, and the guys that have perhaps vying for the Rookie of the Year. If it wasn't for a guy named Ohtani, then perhaps you'd be looking at Torres and Duhar as possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Miguel Andujar has really been compared to guys like Joe DiMaggio in franchise history. He broke the doubles record all time, and Miguel Andujar is going to have over 300 total bases on the year. Just a remarkable rookie year. But yes, Ohtani's a unicorn. How do you compare to that? A guy who threw 50 dominant innings as a pitcher, and then also has been a home run machine. And
well, here's some of the numbers for them. You got Andujar with 27 home runs, 23 for Torres. Third most by a Yankee under the age of 22. Some pretty impressive names there too. Mantle and DiMaggio, and the other side Judge and DiMaggio. I mean, that's amazing. The Yankees have been able to keep this level of play with a pretty good mix, and to have guys coming through the system is still pretty impressive.
50 home runs, AJ, from those two rookies.
Those are two really good rookie years. 20 home runs 15 years ago was a huge deal. If you hit 20 home runs, man, this guy's got all kinds of power. Now 40, 50 is the number, but 20 home runs as a rookie, still very, very special, especially in a place like New York with the expectations that were brought upon this team before the season started. So they've had great years. Unfortunately, like you said, they ran into the unicorn.
Well, Eovaldi working here. There is already action in the Boston pen. Told you today we'll be seeing a lot of the pens. Eduardo Rodriguez up in the pen right now.
And that's what we talked about before the game. These guys might be used in the bullpen in the playoffs. So Alex Cora wants to see what these guys can do. Get them used to getting up in the middle of the game. Rodriguez has been a starter pretty much his whole career. He's not used to getting up in the middle of the game. Learn how to do it.
Right side to Kinsler again. This time he's in short right, and the throw was to the outfield side, but there to make the play is Moreland on Bird. 2 down. So 2-away, and Austin Romine coming up here now for New York. .244, 10 homers, 41 runs batted in for Romine.
So David, 1-game playoff, A's, Yankees. Do you start Romine behind the plate, or do you go with Sanchez?
I would start Sanchez. And I know that the Yankees are adamant about that too. They've stood behind Sanchez 100%. I think Romine deserves enormous credit for how he filled in this year, both when Sanchez was hurt, but also his career year. If you think about 10 home runs, double-digit home runs from Romine behind the plate, good defense. He deserves a lot of credit. I mean, he was a big stopgap for them, but Sanchez is a game changer. He can win the game all by himself. He might have a multi-home run game in that wild card streak. And Sanchez still has a cannon for an arm as well.
Well, the A's don't run as much, so that's not really the arm isn't the issue, but the home runs I get. Remember a couple years ago the A's played the Royals and they started Giovanni Soto. The A's did instead of Derek Norris because they wanted the defense, and then they took out Soto and put in Norris, and the Royals just started running wild. So it's amazing how in a 1-game playoff the roster construction and the thought processes changes. You don't need 5 starting pitchers. You can bring extra bullpen guys because you can switch your roster after. So it's just a thought, you know, because there has been some questions about Sanchez's defense and even his offense since he's come back. So just a thought that, hey, maybe they're looking at something else.
Absolutely. It's a valid question, and something the Yankee fans have been talking about for a while in a 1-game because of the pass ball issues that Sanchez has had. And also cross-up issues.
That's the thing.
Several cross-ups this year.
You know the signs as a you know the signs as a catcher. So that's when you get crossed up. If it's not.
That is strike 3. Romine's down by way of the K. 4 strikeout for Eovaldi. 1-0 New York. 1-0. Yankees have the lead. Kinsler, Bradley Jr. and Swihart scheduled to bat in the inning. Kinsler, an interesting pickup for the Red Sox as well.
Perfect fit for this team. Defensively, offensively. Fenway Park, he can hit the ball over the Green Monster. Dustin Pedroia, obviously, it's a big part of this franchise for a lot of years, but Ian Kinsler really is the plug-in for him until next year. We'll see what happens in the offseason, but he really helps this lineup out, in my opinion. Still runs the bases well.
They knew they were going to be without Dustin Pedroia for a long time this year entering the season. They did not know they were going to be without Dustin Pedroia really for the entire year.
Well, Kinsler, to me, this defense is the most important. Yeah, his offense is a little bit down the last couple of years, but his defense is still top-notch. Gold Glove second base. And he's taken over for Pedroia, who honestly is the leader of this organization on the field. And even though he's not here, you still see him in the clubhouse. You still see him in the dugout running around telling guys what to do. He's amazing. And Kinsler and Pedroia have a long history together. I mean, in college, they were in the same college, and Pedroia kind of took Kinsler's spot, and Kinsler had to transfer from ASU to Missouri. So now it's interesting that Kinsler's kind of come in and taken over for Pedroia. It all goes full circle.
Of course, you played with Dustin Pedroia here, and I mean, a man of his size, he's a leader, though. I mean, this guy is.
Well, he talks like, he talks like he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I mean, it's amazing. I'm like, Dustin, you're 5'5". Come on, you're not that tough. But he believes. But he believes in his heart that and that's all that matters. I mean, he's one of the toughest, grittiest guys I've ever. I played with Kinsler. He's not far behind him. So those two are very similar. Like, they both think they are, and it's great because it's great on a team. You have to believe that to play baseball.
I think that's pretty much the thing for Dustin, is that he spent his entire life proving people wrong. I mean, with his size, it starts high school and then, as you mentioned, college.
I know. When I played with Kinsler in Texas in 13, we used to make fun of him because Pedroia took your spot. You stink. And then Kinsler was like, well, he was an MVP. And then now to come full circle, now he's kind of not taking his spot, but because Dustin's injured, he's come over and kind of filled in for him. It's just amazing how those two have kind of been intertwined their whole career.
And they're shifting on the right side here on Jackie Bradley Jr. Certainly known more for his glove than his bat, but a guy who is as good as anybody in the outfield. .232 average coming in, 13 homers on the year, 58 runs driven in. That's out of the 7 spot today. Runner goes, and it's fouled off by Bradley. Yankees pen is busy as well. We're going to see a lot of the bullpens today. Going to see a lot of the benches. The Yankees have secured that AL wildcard spot at home at Yankee Stadium against the Oakland A's. That was taken care of here last night. Their 99th win. Chance for number 100 here today. Now, the amazing part about this division, you put the Tampa Bay Rays, say, in the Central, and the Rays are headed to the postseason. So another AL East team that really had a very good, especially second half.
They did, and kind of broke the mold. I mean, they are trailblazers with the opener strategy and the way they got the most out of that pitching staff. Second in the American League in ERA overall.
Runner goes, pitch inside. No throw, and a stolen base for Ian Kinsler, who can do that too.
Heck, I think if you give the season another 2 weeks, the Rays might catch the A's or the Yankees the way they're playing. I mean, they've been on fire. They just kind of ran out of time. I mean, 88 wins for a team that was maybe thought to finish at 500, and the way their bullpen and the trades they made, they lose Longoria, then they trade guys at the trade deadline. They trade these guys away, and Kevin Cash has got to get some credit for Manager of the Year.
In the air to left field, sending Gardner back at the wall. That ball's going to scrape the monster. Around from second comes Kinsler to tie the game. It's a wall ball double for Jackie Bradley Jr. This game is tied at 1.
absolute bullet off the bat of Jackie Bradley Jr. This is Fenway gives you as a left-handed hitter. You hit a ball to left, high off the wall, easy double for Jackie, but the way Gardner actually played this really well, and Ian Kinsler didn't get a great read, but what I love is the wall is so short. As soon as he saw Gardner's back, he took off and scored easily. There's been times where, because of that short wall, guys misread it, and they're actually thrown out at the plate or held at third, but Kinsler read it properly. He read it a little bit late, but as soon as he saw Gardner's back, he knew it was over his head, and he scored easily.
AJ, I know you spent a season here, but coming in is as a visiting player and taking a look at that wall. I mean, does it tempt you at all to just go in that direction, knowing it looks so close?
If I was a right-handed hitter, it would have messed me all up. As a left-handed hitter, it didn't affect me as much. I mean, the problem I had is I would hit my best ball to right field, and they would catch it on the warning track, whereas in 29 other parks, they were home runs. So it didn't affect me as much, but if I was a right-handed pull hitter, man, I would have been trying every swing to hit it up off the Sitco sign out there.
Like Swihart getting the start in right field.
So here's Kinsler's read off second. Ball's hit. He thinks about it. He's like, okay, okay. And then he sees Gardner's back turn. He knows right away it's off the ball. And when I played here, Brian Butterfield, our third base coach, in spring training, the Red Sox have an exact replica of this field in Fort Myers at JetBlue. And we would actually work on balls off the bat, off of fungo, whether to go or to stay at second base, because it's such a tough wall to read.
Swihart strikes out, third K of the day for Herman. First out of the second inning.
To provide a little context on that ball went 341 feet. 94 miles an hour off the bat of Jackie Bradley Jr. And a hit probability, according to StatCast, of 24%. So that's pretty medium depth over Gardner's head where he's playing, not necessarily dead in the gap, and it went 341 feet. So
it went high off the wall too. It wasn't like it was off the low part. I mean, it was high up there.
So one down, Bradley Jr. at second base, and here is Christian Vasquez. That got him on the arm, and he'll head down to first base. So a hit by the pitch. Red Sox have 2 on with 1 away here in the second inning. AJ, you mentioned spring training in JetBlue Park. It is exact replica as far as the symmetrics go. Looking around that ballpark, it certainly helps guys getting ready for the regular seasons. Here comes Aaron Boone, and he will take the baseball. So pitching change here in the second inning. Red Sox have grabbed a run and tied this game 1-1.
We had a great moment here from one of the all-time Red Sox legends. Don Orsillo was welcomed back by the Red Sox faithful and got an amazing ovation from the crowd. Standing ovation, Don, well deserved. Coney and I didn't get those ovations when we returned, but you deserved it. 3 World Series you called, and just a Red Sox legend. So congratulations, Don.
I really appreciate it. Thanks very much, AJ. It was a very cool moment here at Fenway Park, and fun to be back, no doubt. A beautiful day here at Fenway. It's been a long time here as the runners go, and they'll both advance on a double steal. Don Orsillo, David Cone, AJ Pierzynski with you from Fenway Park. And yeah, it was a great run here of 15 years, 3 championships for the Red Sox during the time that I was here. It was a lot of fun.
How many hugs and kisses did you? I mean, every person we walked in with was, man, I missed you, Don. I love you. I mean, it was amazing.
It's been a while since I've been back, so it was great to see everybody here today and be back in Boston. Certainly enjoying my time in San Diego. Really been very fortunate to work on both coasts, Red Sox and now the San Diego Padres. And certainly like to thank the San Diego Padres ownership for giving me the opportunity to do national games during the course of the year, to be around guys like you, AJ, all the time now.
I know, you get tired of me. This is our 3rd week in a row. That's why you're leaving me next week. You're tired of me.
I've had enough of AJ Pierzynski.
That's why Coney hasn't been here. You can only do 1 week at a time.
Yeah. 2nd and 3rd. Double steal going on for the Red Sox with 1 down in the inning. Pretty aggressive.
Delayed steal. They caught Andujar napping. Jackie Bradley looked up, saw he wasn't paying attention, and took an easy 90. And Christian Vasquez, you got to love those as a catcher. Backside stolen base on a double steal.
17th bag for Bradley Jr. this year against 1 caught stealing.
Stephen Tarpley down to the game for New York.
They really like Stephen Tarpley as he's kind of zoomed up through their minor league system. A really heavy sinker and a good slider, and he is on audition for a potential postseason roster spot as well.
Well, we talked about in the open, guys are trying to learn new roles and things for postseason play. Well, Tarpley, they bring him in to face Benintendi here. Why? Because this could be a matchup in the ALDS if the Yankees get past the A's. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. We need to save this run. Hey, strike this guy out, Tarpley.
Second and 3rd, game tied 1-1. And a fly ball headed out towards left center field. Aaron Hicks coming over from center, getting himself set, will make the catch. Bluffing is Bradley, not going anywhere, and it's a good thing. He would have been very out. So Benintendi flies out, no advance for Bradley Jr. Shows a little bit about Aaron Hicks and his throwing arm from center field.
Well, I think it also tells the mindset of this game. If this is in June and it's a close race, I think Jackie Bradley tempts it here. But Aaron Hicks has a very strong arm and very accurate, and 1 hop right to Austin Romine. You're right, he probably would have been very out, but I think in a June game they might force the issue a little bit more.
Especially with 2 outs, that being the 2nd out there, and Benintendi making the fly out to Hicks, and it'll bring up Brock Holt. Mound visit charged. Austin Romine was out to talk to Tarpley. Tarpley into the game now for Domingo Germán, who is still responsible for the 2 men on. So you think Tarpley could be in the mix here?
Absolutely. Yeah, AJ's perception was right on, and it would be for these type of matchups. Maybe not necessarily Brock Holt, but certainly Andrew Benintendi. Generally speaking, the Yankees don't have a matchup bullpen. They have about 4 closers that they can bring in and pitch against anybody, but it would be a nice little weapon to have if you could trust a young pitcher in Tarpley who can be tough on lefties.
The way the game's going, though, with the starters only going 4 or 5 innings, this is a guy you bring in the 5th inning, 6th inning to get an out, not in the 8th or 7th or 8th inning later. You bring this guy in, hey, it's the 5th inning, we're in a tie game, we need a lefty out, boom, here you go, get this guy. Not later on.
Could be the 3rd or 4th inning, according to Aaron Boone, the way they're talking about managing that game.
You mentioned the closers and the number of them that are possibilities in the pen. Zach Britton worked in last night's game. Been better lately, but last night not so good.
Yeah, when it gets away from him, it's the strike zone issues, and that's the one thing that's tough to watch at the end of games if you can't get the ball over. But he has been really good for 6 out of the last 7 outings.
Well, isn't that the story with most relievers? Why they're not starters is because they can't find the strike zone sometimes. I mean, Dylan Betances ran into that a little bit at the end last year. He's found it, had a great year this year. I mean, Chapman's had, all closers, it seems like, have that problem at some point, and they always figure it out because their stuff is too good.
Popped up down the first base line. Greg Bird steps into foul ground and leans and can't make the catch. Got a glove on it, but it's off the glove. So another chance for Brock Holt. Dealing with the netting down there by the tarp area and unable to make the catch is Bird.
He has it all the way. Clank, clank. The railing might have got him, might have stiffed his hand a little bit, but tough play by Greg Bird. But I think if you ask him, probably thinks he should have had it.
Ruled no play. So another chance here for Brock Holt, who singled in the first inning. And now lines one down the right field line, foul. Again towards the tarp, but out ahead. Today's telecast is sponsored by Wells Fargo, established 1852, reestablished 2018. And by the well-connected 2019 MKC. Full count to Holt, and a swing and a miss as Tarpley strikes him out. And the Red Sox will leave runners at second and third. They do get a run after 2, tied at 1. Participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org. Beautiful day at Fenway Park in Boston. It's the Red Sox and Yankees. Get to see both the Pens and a lot of the bench today. Game 161 of the year for both these teams, and a new pitcher on for Boston to start the 3rd inning. After 2 from Eovaldi, here is Eduardo Rodriguez.
Big lefty. Been a starter most of his career. They're trying him out in the bullpen. He's had a really nice year. Kind of injury plagued on and off throughout his career, but This guy can bring it. Got a really good changeup, and will be a weapon for the Red Sox in the postseason.
See, that's the thing. I mean, there is some concern over the bullpen, and you think about it, the guys that you're not going to use in starts now slide into some of those roles. Not saying you're going to have an Andrew Miller type guy here, but you do have a guy that could go multiple innings if you need him to.
Yeah, you could kind of view him as a potential 4-starter along with Nathan Eovaldi, depending on the matchup. And the other one would go right to the bullpen and be a weapon.
Kind of like what the Astros did with Charlie Morton and Lance McCullers last year. They switched them. One guy started Game 7 of the ALCS, and one guy started Game 7 of the World Series. They flip-flopped them. So it's the new thinking, the new wave of thinking. Hey, use guys wherever they can be most effective.
We got away from it, but we were talking about managers, and you're talking about 2 rookie managers here, but boy, have the responsibilities of the managers and the manager types really changed. I mean, you think about the guys that managed both of you guys for the most part, especially you, David, to what the manager's job is now and what's expected of them. It's completely different.
Very much different, and you can bet that more major league teams are going that route. The Yankees have an analytics guy embedded with the team that travels with the team, that works with Aaron Boone, and in-game as well. You get real-time information nowadays from the analytics teams on what decisions to make, pitching changes, stuff, spin rate. I talked to AJ Hinch earlier this year about getting the StatCast numbers in game as a pitcher losing his spin rate in the 4th or 5th inning, and that impacts the decision making on who to bring in and who to take out.
Now, of course, Aaron Boone was doing television prior to this, and he said that he was using matchups a lot when he was doing TV. Now he doesn't use those matchups at all, which was kind of interesting, I thought.
Yeah, the education of young managers. And so-and-so is 3 for 11. Well, that's useless information nowadays.
This is at Benintendi, who puts it away, Bill the cap high for out number 1. Well, we have them all. Let's go to Mike Hill in the studio for a game break. All right, Mike, thanks very much. The National League West fascinating right now as we get down to the last 2 days. As the Dodgers and Rockies have clinched a spot in the postseason. They were able to celebrate last night. And the Rockies could clinch the West with a win today or a Dodgers loss. The Dodgers are at the Giants. Clinch a postseason berth with a win or a St. Louis loss. And the Cubs can clinch the Central with a win or a Milwaukee loss. That's what's going on today. Just a couple things in the National League.
I'm looking for chaos. I want chaos.
You want everybody tied, don't you?
Think about if you have somehow the Cardinals, Giants, Rockies, Cubs, Brewers, somehow they get all, and they have to play like 6 extra games.
The Giants won't be there.
Oh, sorry. Dodgers,
The other teams you mentioned.
There's so many teams that are involved. You lose track after a little while. But I think the Cubs and the Brewers tie. Right? They have to play a 1-game playoff for the division. Right. Think of the pressure on the Cubs.
Line to center, and that's going to be in for a base hit in front of Bradley Jr. Andrew McCutchen with a 1-out single.
Think of the pressure in a 1-game playoff in Chicago, in Wrigley Field, for that against the Brewers, who everyone said, hey, have no chance against the big Cubs.
A lot of pressure.
And more pressure. The Dodgers and Rockies somehow tie, and they have to play a 1-game playoff. Think of the Dodgers pressure. And then the loser have to go play another game to decide the wild card, and then they have to turn around and try and play another. I mean, it could be absolutely, it'd be great. It's like was it the Allstate Mayhem commercials? Like, we just want full mayhem to break out here. Everyone tie, and let's just sort it out after the season.
Well, that's what Monday is for, in case that happens. Regular season ending here, of course, on Sunday. Here's Aaron Hicks with 2 on, 1 away. And a grounder off the glove, but Rodriguez kicks out to Kinsler. He's got 1 play, and he makes it at first base. The deflection ends up to the second baseman. And Hicks retired 1-4 to 3, 2 down.
I've played in one of those 163 games. They are really fun. But, man, they are really nerve-wracking. Coney, I don't know if you ever got to do that, but it's different than playing in a deciding game in a playoff series, because you haven't got to the playoffs yet. At least if you're in the playoffs, like, okay, even if we lose, we had a great year, we made the playoffs. But if we lose this game, we don't even get to the playoffs, and we had to play an extra game, and everyone's expecting you to win. Fortunately, I've won one of those and I've lost one, and the win was much obviously more fun winning. But man, losing that game was just devastating. You're just destroyed by it. You're distraught because everything came down to one game. You look back over the year and say, if I just would have got one more hit or won one more game, we wouldn't have had to do this. And whew, it's fun, but man, does it take a toll on your heart.
Big cut from Stanton for strike one.
A lot of the critics thought that you cannot manufacture that kind of drama in the original design of this wild card game. Well, it looks like you can. Yankee Stadium last year was as loud as it's ever been, at least the new version of Yankee Stadium.
What I love about the two wild cards is that there are so many cities and so many teams that are alive for so deep into the season. I mean, this playoff picture is not decided yet in the National League by a long shot. I mean, it is so exciting during the course of the year to have those teams in the mix that normally would have been eliminated a while ago.
Heck, not only is the playoff picture, David Cone and my schedule isn't decided for where the heck we're going to go.
Back to you again. It's all about you.
Always. We can't figure out where we can't plan to go anywhere because we don't know who's going to be in and out.
Stan thought about it, doesn't pull the trigger. The 94-mile-an-hour fastball. So you got to narrow it down, though, right? At least you got a couple cities in mind where you'd be headed. I mean, at least you got that in mind, or not even.
You can't. Well, it could be Milwaukee, it could be Atlanta, it could be Colorado, it could be LA.
Oh,
it could be Chicago.
So kind of wide open then.
Chaos.
That is on the outside corner. Eduardo Rodriguez frees Stanton and ends the inning. We're tied at 1 after 2.5. Stuff about to take place because this guy's usually playing every day, and we could be talking to the MVP of the American League. Mookie Betts, how you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys?
Great. Thanks for joining us, and tell us a little bit about what this year has been like for you, a 30-30 man, and what has been an incredible season.
It's been a great year. I mean, oh shoot, did we go out?
Oh no, we're in.
Okay. It's been a great year, and I mean, just to be a part of a team like this special team like this, I mean, it's just been a blessing, and I couldn't ask for a better coaching staff and teammates.
Mookie, first of all, you're a teammate of mine in 2014 when you first come up. Can you just smack Masai in the back of his head standing next to you for me, please? Thank you very much. I don't think we got that on camera, but I saw it, so thank you.
From AJ.
Of course. There he is. Now he knows.
Quickly,
yeah, he knows.
So Mookie, I remember when you came up in 14, you were second baseman. We heard all about you in spring training and everything in the year you were having. And I saw you for the first time, and I was like, man, this dude is the man. He's little. He's just a little fella. And you came up and just started banging balls. So tell me, as such a small guy, I mean, your hands are obviously amazing, but how do you do it?
God bless me with the ability, really. I mean, I just try and swing as hard as I can, pretty much, in case I hit it. Hopefully it goes somewhere, and that's just kind of been my whole thing. I'm only 170 pounds, so I gotta make up for it somehow.
Well, the 30-30 part, that's pretty cool. I mean, first and foremost, as J.D. Martinez strikes out, first out of the inning. How hard was the 30 stolen base part of that 30-30 equation?
Man, that's tough. That was the one of the hardest things. I think the most I got into was like 26, and that was, I felt like I ran a lot that year, and running more this year, and I think just the flow of the game, and like I said, this team and the coach's mindset. I mean, just be aggressive, and I think use it to my advantage.
I want to ask you about your new manager this year, Alex Cora. How much difference has he made this season for you?
He's made the world of difference. It's just like a different viewpoint. Aggressive. He has an aggressive mindset, and I think just was something that I hadn't tapped into, and he kind of got it out of me, and I'm just trying to, like I said, use it to my advantage, because getting guys like AC down there is definitely a blessing, and will help. He helped this whole ball club.
Well, Mookie, do you have your speech ready? Have you started thinking about your speech for when they call you up to New York and you get that MVP and you're in the black tie and you got to give the whole speech? Do you have it ready? Have you thought about it? I mean, honestly, for me, you're the MVP of the American League. JP Morosi, I think, has a vote. He's not going to admit it, but I think he's going to vote for you too. Do you have it ready?
No, I don't. When that time comes, I'll come up with something. But I got a lot of people to. If I am fortunate enough to win, I got a lot of people to thank for sure.
Mookie, obviously you set the tone for this lineup up at the top of the order. Is that something you like? You like batting first, leading off, leading this offense, give you a chance to do both power and speed?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of let off my whole life, and I think the last 2 years has been the only time I've actually hit, in the middle of the order. Being that it's kind of like a comfort thing where I can lead off and just stick there the whole year and just try and be that table setter and for everybody else.
When this team got together in Fort Myers, could you have imagined 107 wins? Is that something you could even imagine?
I didn't know about the 107 wins. I knew we had a good ball club. We returned a lot of guys, and then obviously added JD and then the whole coaching staff. So I knew, we had a good team. But I wasn't sure about the 107 wins. I mean, that's something that's very impressive. I think with any group of guys, and especially us being so close knit.
You mentioned J.D. Martinez. How big has that been of an addition?
It's been huge. I mean, like you said, he's had just a say so. Not telling us what to do, but giving us suggestions on what we should do in our swings and all those type of things. He helped us all, at some point, and it's amazing how he kind of helps everybody and then takes care of himself too. And you see what he's done this year, and he's been, one of the best things that happened to me in my life for sure, my career for sure. So I think I couldn't ask for anything better.
Mookie, on that same page, have you started filming your BPs the way he does yet?
Yeah, I do.
So you bought into it, huh?
Yeah,
you're in.
I think if you're gonna be in, you got to be all the way in. And so, after last year, I figured I need to make some type of adjustment, and I bought in, and it's worked out pretty well.
Hey, when this is all said and done, is pro bowling still in your future?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't want to have any real obligations. When I'm older, I don't want to have to show up and coach, or if I would decide to do it, then that's one thing. But I don't want to have to do anything. And I think professional bowling, I get to pick and choose what I get to do. And so I think I may go that route.
Well, for me, Mookie, I don't think you're going to have to worry about what you're going to have to do. I think you're going to be okay for the rest of your life after you get done playing baseball. I think you can pick and choose whatever you want, and if it's bowling, good for you. But I mean, 300 game is pretty amazing. I get 300 in about 3 games. So for you to do it and go on the PBA and bowl against those professionals is pretty amazing. You're a talented guy, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I do what I can, you know, to keep myself entertained, and bowling is definitely one of them.
This thing's been over for a while. I'm sure you're itching to get to the postseason.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of tough to, you know, these last, well, I don't even know how long it's been since we clinched, but the last couple of weeks it's been tough to kind of keep your mind in it, knowing that, you know, we had a little lead and whatnot. But I think that's kind of what separates the good from the best, and, you know, just keeping your mind in it. And, you know, like I said, these group of guys and these coaching staff, they keep our minds in it, and that's why we've been able to be so successful. And you know, hopefully we can carry this through the postseason.
This is down to third, going to second, and Duhar to end the inning. Mookie Betts, congratulations on an amazing season. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Incredible year for Mookie Betts. You're looking at the American League MVP. This game is tied at 1. Red Sox middle game of a 3-game series from the Fens. There's Didi Gregorius. Leads it off here for New York and takes a strike over the inside corner. Gregorius and Duhar and Bird featured here in the top of the 4th inning. Eduardo Rodriguez second in the game for Boston here. First we saw Valdi for 2 innings, who gave up the Yankees run. Now Eduardo Rodriguez into his 2nd inning of relief. Gregorius, a strikeout victim in the first. He went swinging, and this one right back at him and into center field. A return to center right there, and right through into center. Few right back at Eduardo Rodriguez today.
He's got a target on him. He's been hit. He already got almost hit once, turned into an out. That one just skips by him. Looked like it ticked off his glove. David, that's scary, isn't it? 60 feet 6 inches, ball coming back at you 100 miles an hour.
Yes, you know, we saw one earlier this year where Aaron Judge hit one about 110 miles an hour, and thankfully the play was made by the pitcher. But yes, it is very scary. As a pitcher, it makes you want to pitch inside more. All those balls that are hit back up the box are pitches that are away.
Rodriguez operating from the third base side of the rubber. What's his advantage to doing that?
It's all about angles. He's trying to develop a situation where he can pitch inside to the righties better, and that creates that angle to control that side of the plate. It also gives him more movement for his changeup to move down and away and fade away from the right-handed batters. A lot of it depends on where you land too. If you throw across your body.
Fly ball off the bat of Andujar will send Bradley Jr. backpedaling in center for out number 1. Gregorius back to first, 1 down. You a middle of the rubber guy, or were you all over the place?
I was all over the place, and a lot of times, even hitter to hitter, from a lefty to a right-handed batter, sometimes you could switch. I don't see that as much anymore. That was something that was done more 20, 30 years ago. But a lot of it, as I said before, just to finish that point, where you land, if you land across your body, which Rodriguez does a little bit, then you could free up your hips. You can see where the hole is. He's definitely a little bit of a crossfire. So you can free up your hips by moving on that side of the rubber, on the third base side for him.
He's staying over there, lefty or righty doesn't appear to matter. He's going to be there.
I think that's something that most people don't take enough advantage of, like you said, David. Moving around, especially younger kids. If you continue to miss on one side of the plate, you have the freedom to move on the rubber. So move. Tell the catcher to move. Tell the pitcher to move. I think it's something that is not taken advantage of nearly enough. Speaking of, we played the Cubs one time, and Ted Lilly was notorious for not being on the rubber. When he would come out of the windup, he would move up like 6 inches and throw from in front of the rubber. So that's taking a little bit too much of advantage of the rubber, but he got caught eventually doing it. But in his windup, he would actually step forward to get a 6-inch advantage, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on a fastball, it's a big advantage.
Did he go? Yeah, he did. They check with Laz Diaz down there at third base.
But guys used to move a lot. Chris Sale was a guy that has moved on the rubber over his time. David Price this year has moved on the rubber this year, and it's affected his success. There's so many ways, like David said, angles. It's all about angles and where you want to throw and deception.
So batter to batter, moving around.
Jake Peavy used to move around batter to batter, depending on how sometimes he wanted to pitch him. You see guys move left and right, and the thing is as a left-handed hitter, I was a left-handed hitter. If I had faced a lefty that was all the way on the first base side, man, it made it so much more difficult to see. If I got a lefty like Rodriguez that was on the third base side, it just seemed like it opened up the field of vision for me. So he does it because of the righties. He wants to throw the fastball in and fade the changeup away. But if he moved over to the first base side, man, it would make it so much more difficult as a left-handed hitter to see the ball.
Bird swinging away here and fouling it down the right field line. It hangs at 1-2 to Greg Bird.
Probably the last pitcher I saw do that pitch to pitch, Don, was Chris Bosio. Used to do it just like AJ was saying, whether it was a righty or a left-handed batter. He would move to extreme sides of the rubber from whether it was a lefty or a righty, or almost pitch to pitch at times.
To center field, Jackie Bradley Jr. making his way back at the wall. It's going to be off the wall. The caramel actually kicked to Benintendi, the left fielder, as Gregorius trying to score all the way from first, and he will to put the Yankees on top. The ball took off back by the 379 marker. It's an RBI double for Bird, and it's 2-1 New York. Ray Bradley was moving back, almost looked like he was going to have a chance, but ended up quite a ways away from him.
Well, no, he was trying to deke Didi Gregorius into not scoring. Four-seam fastball right down the middle. Greg Bird does not miss it. Bangs it off the center field wall. And Jackie Bradley Jr. is trying to deke him. Like, oh, I got this easy. I got this easy. Oh, I have no chance. And it took a funky carom. He was playing it to bounce off the monster and come towards him. Instead of hit that one side angle wall and goes to Benintendi, who has to get it in. And Gregorius scores easily on that play.
Well, the deke worked on me. I was watching him.
All those years here, Don,
yeah.
You still fell for it.
No, I went.
But back to Coney's point about the rubber, 2 lefties, 2 hits this inning, both on balls trying to be away that have come back. So again, move over on the rubber, not saying he should, but just something to think about in people's careers.
Yeah, the pros and cons of which angles you're trying to create.
Austin Romine batting here with 1 down. Bird at second base, a run in, and a broken back grounder to short.
Brock Holt will go to first for the out as Bird takes third. Well, Holt had the bat and the ball coming at him there.
Saw it off. No, he's running. You know why he's running down there? Because there's times when I've had that happen. You just want to throw that at somebody. So if you just hold on to it, then you don't have a, you know, it's like a relay torch. But man, he just got sawed off by Rodriguez right there. Nice play by Holt, dodging the bat, making a play, but drop the handle. Just drop the hand, drop the baton.
So runner at third, 2 down, and Gleyber Torres with a swing and a miss for strike one. Walked in the third inning, getting his second plate appearance of the day. Sun has ducked back behind a cloud at the moment. Sun's been with us all day here for the most part at Fenway Park. I want to ask you, David Cone, how big a deal is it for Eduardo Rodriguez to be coming out of the pen? Used to being starting in this situation, trying to figure out if he can do this.
That's part of it. I mean, I'm sure he's done it in the past, but you're right, Don. He's been a starter all year long, and you can bet he wants to get one of those postseason starts.
To right field, sending Swihart back towards the track at the wall. Ball's gone. Gleyber Torres, a number 9 man, has given the number 9 man 20 home runs on the year for the Yankees. That's what they do. They hit home runs, and that's a 2-run shot for Torres. Individually, his 24th of the year. The Yankees have scored 3 times in the inning and have a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, with one swing of the bat, I think Gleyber Torres and the Yankees might want to get that baseball back, because not only is that of a historical nature, as Don just said, Yankees now the first team in Major League Baseball history to have at least 20 home runs from every spot in the order. And also that's home run number 265, which breaks the all-time record. So with one swing of the bat, 2 records are broken.
That ball's not getting anywhere near the Yankees. That ball's going to Cooperstown, New York. It's going to New York, just Cooperstown, New York. Don't lick it, please. They don't want that. They don't want that in Cooperstown.
A 3-run top of the 4th inning so far for New York. Brett Gardner getting his 3rd plate appearance of the day. These 3 runs off Eduardo Rodriguez.
What a swing. You go right field. Oppo is a right-handed hitter in Fenway Park. Blake Swihart, not the most experienced right fielder. And there's the famous cop from the Torrey Hunter falling over the wall. Home run by David Ortiz. He didn't have his hands up that time, but ouch, Blake Swihart. Take it easy on the wall. Don't get hurt.
Yeah, he generally doesn't have the arms in the air for the opposition's home runs.
Yeah, but every time, I remember 13 when he did that with Torrey Hunter and David Ortiz. The next year when I was here, every time he'd take every single picture, but it was only one arm. It was weird. It was like one arm, and he had the pose down to a science.
Look out as ducking out of the way as Gardner kind of buzzed the tower there, and full Gardner late to react. Gardner reached on an error in the 1st inning, came around to score the Yankees' 1st run, lined out to left field in the 3rd. So 0 for 2 today. He sprays one foul. It hangs at 2-2. That cop, by the way, is retiring at the end of this season, so it's the end of the hands in the air run.
Does the next guy that take over, does he have to get his own pose also?
I guess he's got to come up with something original. Can't just keep doing that, right?
Is there a more famous police officer in Boston than he was for about 6 months after that home run?
Incredible. Appears at parties, weddings.
Steve Horgan, Officer Steve, we called him in the bullpen.
In again.
In these innings, yes, I know this game is, in the first standings is kind of whatever, but this is an important inning for Rodriguez here because he's trying to prove that, hey, I can do this out of the bullpen. I want to make the playoff roster. I want to be a weapon.
That is ball 4, and he loses Brett Gardner. 2nd walk allowed here by Rodriguez since coming into the game. And here comes Dana LeBanji, the pitching coach for the Red Sox. So a 3-run inning so far for New York. The MLB postseason begins Tuesday with the NL wildcard on ESPN and Wednesday with the AL wildcard on TBS. Then Thursday, the National League Division Series begins on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. There are David and AJ Jones is the question. That's all AJ cares about right now.
Well, I want to book my flights. I have to make sure I have a certain seat. Otherwise, I can't handle it.
It's all about you.
Yeah, it's all about me, Don. That's right. Coming from the guy who had to get a standing ovation back at Fenway. Yeah, it's all about me.
Andrew McCutchen standing in.
Come on, AJ. Let's rent an RV. We'll just drive to the middle of the country. We'll hover. We'll hover in the middle.
I'm in. I've done that before.
It's supposed to be teammates. It's not AJ's team. I mean,
no, it's Fox.
Teammates.
It's full Fox.
David Cohn.
That's it. We'll do it Walter White style. Come on, right in the middle of the country.
I don't know if we want to go quite as far as Walter White did, but.
Off the end of the bat, foul. 0-2 here to McCutchen.
I think it's more about our producer Aaron Stoikov. Him and Sam Younger, Jordan Harrison. They have to get the truck ready, so they have to know. They want to know. They want to know. Lauren White, our Viz girl, our graphics girl who messed up the graphics for me today. I had to correct her this morning, but we don't worry about that.
Not afraid to throw people under the bus. On the ground, foul outside of third.
No, they want to get the truck ready. We need to walk in and have everything prepared so we don't have to do any homework.
The special seat that you're requesting, can you talk about that at all? What is it that you need? What does AJ Pierzynski need in his life?
I like I used to like the aisle seat, but now I like a window seat because then the guy sitting next to me won't get up and go to the bathroom when we're flying cross country.
Wake you up.
I can't be woken up. And I'll have the mask on, the earplugs in.
So real friendly, fun to beat around on the plane.
Yes, I'm the person that goes in and sits down and someone starts talking to me. I put my earphones in right in front of them.
Swing and a miss, and striking out is McCutchen, but the damage has been done. As Gleyber Torres hits home run number 24 of the year. The number 9 spot's got 20 now. That's historic. So is the Yankees' overall home run total. It's 4-1 New York. Last of the 4th inning, the Yankees score 3 times in the top half of the 4th. It's 4-1 New York, and it's Jackie Bradley Jr. leads it off. Lance Lynn into his 2nd inning of relief here for the Yankees. What is his role looking like?
Probably in the bullpen at this point. I think Aaron Boone has been on record as saying that he favors CC Sabathia as his potential 4th starter. The top 3 are pretty obvious with Happ and Tanaka and Severino. So Lance Lynn could easily be kind of a swing guy, and as Aaron Boone said, you know, all hands on deck for that wild card game. So he may be in the picture to come in the early innings. That's going to be an unusually managed game.
CC Sabathia, who of course came up short of kind of an important incentive, if I am reading it correctly, $500,000 worth ejected. So it sounds like the Yankees are going to take care of that.
I think they did.
Yeah.
They understand what happened, and good for the Yankees to come good on that. And CC possibly could have been in line to get a couple innings in the bullpen, but instead Yankees don't want to risk something, so they're just going to give it to him. But Lance Lynn's a veteran guy. He's pitched in the postseason. He's pitched in huge games. He started. He's come out of the pen. He's been there. And Coney, you've seen him for the second half this year. Have you ever seen a guy throw more fastballs in your life? And I know Bartolo Colon's kind of the gold standard, but for me, I caught Lance Lynn. This guy's 85+% fastballs, and nobody can hit it.
Kind of crosstown traffic, right? 2-seamer, 4-seamer. His 4-seamer sails a little bit, takes off.
Look at these numbers. 84% in 15 with the Cardinals. 16 he missed because of injury. 17, 90% fastballs. 18, 89% fastballs. Spin rate stays consistent. I think that's why it's good, because especially his 4-seamer, it kind of stays true and almost look like it rises instead of falling because of gravity.
On the ground right side, Torres astride on the outfield grass will throw out Bradley.
That at bat right there, 3-2. What does he throw, Jackie Bradley Jr.? 4-seamer right down the middle. What does it do? It gets in on Jackie, jams him, hits a weak ground ball. He did it to him 2 pitches in a row. Most of the time as a hitter, you're like, okay, Lance Lynn's throwing me a heater. Gets around it a little bit. It has a little cut on it, but still, that's a 4-seamer pretty much middle of the plate that guys do damage with. For some reason, Lance Lynn has the ability to miss barrels of bats and make people swing late and just miss them. It's so frustrating as a hitter.
One down here in the 4th inning. Blake Swihart, the batter, struck out swinging in the 2nd. Now drives one to center field. Aaron Hicks going back at the wall. It's going to be off the wall. By the 379 marker, and into second base goes Swihart with a 1-out wall ball double. We were just talking about CC Sabathia and that incentive with more. Let's send it down to JP.
Well, Don, just moments ago, MLB announcing CC Sabathia has been suspended 5 games for throwing that pitch at Jesus Sucre against the Rays. Now, the key thing is he is appealing that suspension. He'll be able to remain on the active roster until that appeal is heard. And notably, Don, if he has to serve that suspension, that will happen during the 2019 regular season.
So no postseason impact here at all.
Correct. And also part of that announcement, Andrew Kittredge of the Rays suspended 3 games for his pitch toward the head of Austin Romine.
So if CC doesn't play next year, which has been discussed also, does he have to sit out at home? Is he suspended from like going to his kids' games? Does that carry over to your home life?
Retirement?
Also? Yeah.
Christian Vasquez batting here with 1 out and a runner at second base.
Well, there was talk too. Obviously, CC Sabathia, the future's not guaranteed, and that might have been his last act as a Yankee. To walk off the mound like that, drop the microphone, drill the guy.
Actually awesome.
Drop the microphone, yell a few profanities into the Rays dugout, and walk off into the sunset.
I loved it. I saw CC today in the clubhouse, and I'm like, that was awesome. What a way if it is the end to go out.
Sabathia has said that he indeed does want to come back and pitch next year, and you can see why. I mean, he's so close to 3,000 strikeouts, which is a rarefied air for any pitcher. Sabathia I think under 20 away, maybe 15 or so plus strikeouts away from the 3,000 strikeout club. Only 16 pitchers in history are there, 14 of which are in the Hall of Fame.
That was my next question. Is he a Hall of Famer?
You can make a very strong argument for CC Sabathia to be a Hall of Famer.
Now Vasquez striking out here, second K for Lance Lynn, 2 down. Well, you're talking about the value of having guys who got postseason experience. I mean, it's a different thing in the postseason. I don't think it's underrated at all.
Oh, it's definitely not overrated. The only way you get experience is by going into the postseason and actually living through it. It's not the games. The game is kind of the same. It's the stuff off the field, the tickets, the family. Everyone wants to. Oh, you're in the playoffs. I want to come to the playoff games. And oh, you're in the ALCS. I want to come. You're in the World Series. And people are they think it's just easy to get tickets to these games. Oh, you're a player. I need 12 tickets. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I only get 4. Hold on, StubHub or eBay or whatever.
You got to pay taxes on those too.
Yeah, those darn taxes. But yeah, that's
the traveling squad too. The families will travel with the teams. And
that was the one thing certain teams do. Every team does it different ways. Certain teams let your family travel with you. The White Sox, when I was with them, they actually flew a different plane to keep us from being distracted by our families. We would fly out. Say the game was on Wednesday. We'd fly out Tuesday. The families would come in Wednesday, get there right when the game started, so there was no distraction. It was done. That way you didn't have to worry about a crying kid or this and that. It was just, hey, they were always separate, and it was different.
Well, he is one of the guys that is left from the 09 team, and of course, so was Brett Gardner. You're mentioning he may not be in the starting lineup.
Brett Gardner, the longest tenured Yankee around.
And with Robertson?
Yes, along with David Robertson, who was traded, who signed as a free agent, was gone for a year and a half.
Only 3 left from 09. This one to shallow right. McCutchen got a late break, and so he did Hicks. All fall and get by him. Round from second comes Swihart. He'll score. The Red Sox second run of the day, and it's now 4-2 New York as the Red Sox get one back. Looking out there, thinking that ball was in the air a long time.
Well, they're playing deep. The Yankees are playing deep. McCutchen's deep. Huge right field here, right center. These guys are back. Right field in here at Fenway is huge, and this ball jams Benintendi. I think it broke his bat, and he kind of thinks it's going to be caught. He's not going full speed, but just drops in perfectly, and easy RBI for Benintendi. Off the label. If his bat did break, man, that's a good way for a bat to go out. Nothing makes a pitcher more angry, right, David, than a broken bat, especially RBI hit.
Just shows you the challenges of playing here at Fenway and the configurations. A lot of green out there.
87th RBI of the year for Adam Benintendi.
Also makes you appreciate Mookie Betts and Benintendi and Jackie Bradley Jr. And I think from a range standpoint, they cover more ground than any Red Sox outfield in history. And that's saying a lot. There's been some great Red Sox outfields in the past.
Especially in right field. You think of a guy like Dwight Evans, who manned right field for so many years here in Boston.
Fred Lynn in center field.
Yes.
But that guy, Mookie Betts, range-wise, I don't think there's ever been a right fielder that covers more green than him out there. Certainly Jackie Bradley in center as well. They've got wheels, and they cover every inch of this place better than anybody ever has, in my opinion. And Benintendi in left as well.
Well, they have 3 center fielders playing the outfield. 3 really above average center fielders playing left, center, and right. So that helps.
Swing and a miss for Brock Holt.
The days of having Manny Ramirez, who was in left field, that was lucky to get to the ball sometimes, even after it stopped rolling. I mean, there was.
He got to one point where he would creep up almost to shortstop in his defensive alignment too. He was almost in the infield at one point.
So those days are gone here for the Red Sox. Yes, they put J.D. Martinez out there.
Little bloop left side. It'll be the third baseman and Duhar who makes the catch and ends the 4th inning. Red Sox get a run. It's 4-2 New York. be a new pitcher for Boston. Third of the day. Brandon Workman checks into his 43rd game of the year.
Brandon Workman, another guy. Ex-starter, been a reliever, long guy, swing guy.
A shift on, and this is going to make its way into center field. Red Sox are stacked up on the right side, and Hicks ends up taking it to the left of second base, and a leadoff single. Well, in between innings, J.P. Morosi asking about some of the returning players on the Yankees with Aaron Boone.
Aaron, how surprising was it for you that with both Didi and Hicks coming off injury that they were ready to play day game after night game?
Not too surprised. We thought with Hicks we were just playing it real careful on the turf in Tampa, and then with Didi, just every day kept getting better and better, and once he was good to go, we felt comfortable. It was just a matter of checking in with them last night. They were both raring to go.
Aaron, when you consider how much bullpen depth you'll have behind him, what would be the advantages in having Happ start against Oakland in the wild card game?
Well, first, he's a great pitcher, but we feel like we have a number of good choices to make there, whichever route we go. Jay's been really consistent for us since he's got here, so we'll see.
Aaron, thanks so much.
All right, man.
I like how JP did that. Just asking him about what the advantages would be without actually having him say that Jay Happ is your guy.
I actually love Aaron Boone's line. Well, first of all, he's a really good pitcher. I think did he just say?
Well, I was trying to maybe see if we could get a big announcement on our show about who was going to start for the Yankees. That was my best effort, guys. Did I do okay? What do you think?
Great. I thought that was the best part of that interview.
Very tricky. Very tricky.
So did we get confirmation?
I felt like we did. What do you think, JP?
It probably doesn't raise to my level of sourcing, Don, for me to call it. You know, we have all these rules as reporters. I would say that was not definitive confirmation, but I would say strong speculation is heading in the direction of Jay Happ starting that game.
Do you need a second source to make it complete?
I need additional sourcing, and I will have that thoroughly vetted by Aaron Stoichkov before I go on the air with that.
And then what do? You're going to go on the air, or are you going to tweet it? What's
on the air first. Don, the show comes first, my friend, way before Twitter.
Well, I don't have rules, JP, like you, because I have no ethics in broadcasting. So
zero.
Yeah. So guess what? Jay Happ starting the wild card game for the Yankees.
Rule number one: AJ Brzezinski has no ethics. Rule number two: see rule number one. On the ground and through, middle left field. Stanton with a base hit. The pinch runner Tyler Wade takes second base, and it's 2 on, nobody out here in the 5th inning.
So that means you have to get everything cleared by 2 sources, right?
Theoretically, yes. You'd like to have at least 2.
So when you do a game, before you call a ball and a strike, you have to make sure that the umpire and the guy sitting next to you.
And the scoreboard usually is a good third one, yeah.
All right, perfect.
And then you go with it. Just throw it out there.
I just always thought reporters just went with whatever they thought anyways. Sometimes you see stuff and you're like, that, and it's about you, and you're like, it's not true. Oh, but I have sources. Well, ask me. I'm the source. I lived that.
He's like a real journalist. You
know?
I
mean, he does this for a living.
We're just ex-jocks they threw up here. We don't care about the facts.
I've always felt you don't let the facts get in the way of a good broadcast.
Exactly.
This goes to second. Kinsler to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time. Gregorius beats it out at first base. They do retire the middleman in Stanton. See if they challenge this or not on a close play at first base.
Chopper to Kinsler. Nice turn by Brock Holt. Quick. No challenge by the Red Sox. Didi hustling. The immortal words of Ozzie Guillen. Good players play, bad players hustle. That's why he never liked to hear that people were hustling. Because if you should always run hard. So that was his always line. Man, he really hustled that game. Well, good players play and bad players hustle. Ozzie, the wisdom of Ozzie Guillen.
First and third, 1 down. I'm sure you heard a lot of stuff while there from Ozzie Guillen.
A lot of it which can't be. If I had any ethics, I would just say them on the air. If I didn't have any, but since I have some, I can't say them.
What was that experience like being his catcher? I would imagine. I mean, he was probably very involved, I would think.
Oh, he was involved in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting. We were talking to Alex Core today about going out in the clubhouse. That was Ozzie Guillen. And Joey Cora, Alex's brother, was his bench coach, third base coach for years. That's what Ozzie did. He went out in the clubhouse and got to know his players, and he was the first manager I ever had.
There it goes, and that's a base hit down the left field line to the corner. Scores way. Now Gregorius going to try and score. Benintendi has all kinds of problems down there. And 2 additional runs for the Yankees, who take a 6-2 lead. Right down the line into the corner. And it scores 2 runs for Andujar. Andujar with RBIs 91 and 92.
It's another hard hit ball by Andujar. Right by Devers down the third base line. Once it gets past the short corner, makes Gregorius score easily. Benintendi kind of followed it around. Didn't know what it was going to do. There's so many things, factors down in that corner. Hits, takes a weird kick. Allows the Yankees to score another run easily.
What an amazing rookie campaign for that kid right there. He will get a lot of Rookie of the Year votes. I know that Shohei Ohtani is everybody's popular choice outside of New York, but Miguel Andujar deserves a lot of credit. Approaching 300 total bases.
Is he the choice?
I think you can make a strong argument for Miguel Andujar.
No, I'm saying Ohtani.
Well, it seems to be you know, when you value his pitching alongside of his hitting, that he presents, you know, a new argument that we've never seen before. You look at his offensive numbers, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, his pitching numbers as well. But that guy right there for the entire year, almost 300 total bases on the year. The next closest guy is Wendell with Tampa at 211. Ohtani has 183 total bases. Miguel Andujar has 300 total bases almost.
Well, we've been talking about these names, which are amazing when you think of Yankees lore, but Joe DiMaggio, most doubles by a rookie in franchise history, 45 of them passes Joe DiMaggio for the most doubles. That is incredible.
A remarkable rookie season and a big part of the Yankees season as well. Where would they be without his production?
So fouled off by Bird.
Well, without him, who's playing third for the Yankees?
It was going to be Brandon Drury.
Yeah.
At first, before he had injury problems and vision problems. Yeah, without him, they'd have to find somebody else. And they would have had to go try to make a trade or find somebody in the minor leagues. Ronald Torreyes is a utility guy who's played some third base. I mean, that's what they were looking at without Miguel Andujar, who wasn't on the team out of spring training.
He took it and ran. He grabbed it and ran. Now he's there for years.
Bird lifts it down the left field line, headed towards foul ground and into the seats.
He's had the kind of year for the Yankees that he's cemented himself for the next 4 or 5 years possibly to be their everyday third baseman and be a Yankee and passing DiMaggio and doing all these things. I mean, you're talking about all-time greats that he's passing.
There's tremendous plate coverage.
On the other side of the diamond, it does not sound like Bird will be at first base.
No, it's been a lost season for Greg Bird as Luke Voit has stolen that job and has a stranglehold on first base for the Yankees right now.
Well, that's strike 3. First strikeout for Workman, and the second out of the 5th inning.
We mentioned before, and I know I'm a huge Brett Gardner fan. I think he has been a great Yankee, but he probably will not be in the lineup for the wild card game in postseason. The Yankees outfield will be McCutchen, Hicks, and Judge, and Stanton will be the DH, and Luke Voit will play first base, and yes, Gary Sanchez will be catching, and Brett Gardner will probably be on the bench.
That kind of surprised me today, to be honest with you, just because Gardner's speed at the top of the order and what he does and provides could come into play in that game, but I guess he would be coming off the bench perhaps.
It looks that way as the last 3 weeks of the season. It's been Andrew McCutchen leading off for the Yankees and getting the bulk of the starts. Brett Gardner's been on the bench.
Now, does that depend on who's pitching for the A's?
I'm not sure. I think Andrew McCutchen has earned his way to be the leadoff guy for the Yankees right now. It's obviously up for discussion, but the way they played it down the stretch, that's the way it's going to go. And Andrew McCutchen has almost a .430 on base percentage as a Yankee. Another guy that just come in and through his production has a stranglehold on the leadoff spot for the Yankees. And I think Andrew McCutchen is the leadoff hitter for the Yankees. I think Luke Voigt's the first baseman for the Yankees, and Gary Sanchez is the catcher.
And Voigt was almost an afterthought. No one had any idea. He came up with the Cardinals, hit some home runs, kind of toiling in the minor leagues.
Lined into center field for Romine as Andujar is going to try and score. Here comes a throw, and he will be safe. Ball gets away. And up to second base goes Romine on the throw. Yankees add another run and take a 7-2 lead. It looked like it was going to be a pretty good throw there from Bradley Jr., but looks like he got the mound and took a bad hop.
We have two of the best throwing center fielders featured in this game, and you are right, Don. That was a little bit unfortunate for Jackie Bradley Jr. as it does kind of ricochet and off the mound, and that's not only slows it down, it shoots it to the right a bit.
Yeah, bad break for the Red Sox. When Jackie Bradley fielded that, I was like, there's going to be a play at the plate, and unfortunately hit the mound, kicked right. Vasquez unable to come up with it.
So scoring Andujar on the play. Romine advances second base, and Bradley Jr. charged with an error on that throw. It's a tough error. And it does allow the runner to advance, and Romine, as Gleyber Torres will take ball one. So the Yankees putting a 3 spot on the board in the 4th inning. They have added 3 more here in the 5th. 3 off Rodriguez last inning. Workman this inning.
You talk about the awards. It's that time of year. Who's going to win which award? The AL Cy Young.
I think we know that one.
Yes.
Blake Snell.
Blake Snell has had a fantastic year. The MVP, we covered that with Mookie Betts. I think Mike Trout, obviously, and the Angels fans would disagree, as he seems to be always in the conversation for MVP, best player in the game.
Are you of the opinion that the MVP has got to be on a team that goes to the postseason?
No, not necessarily. And you know, obviously, if we switch it over to the National League, you talk about the Cy Young Award and Jacob deGrom breaking new ground with a .500 record, 9-9, but a historic season nonetheless. 1.7 ERA, and the unbelievable consistency he showed all year long, and pitching under duress with no run support.
Yes. I think we'll get into that next inning after.
That is strike 3 to Torres. 3 more runs for the Yankees. It's 7-2 New York halfway through.
Sweet summertime.
Boost Mobile. Get the best value in national prepaid wireless. Easy to switch, easy to save. Now some changes as we move along here. The Yankees making changes. Ronald Torreyes now comes into the game at second base. Danny Echeverria now at shortstop for Gregorius, who comes out of the game. Lance Lynn back out there for another inning of relief. We have more changes for you as we have shifted to kind of a spring training roster here. Tyler Wade is now in right field. Cutchin has moved from right to left, with Gardner moving to center field. So Gardner's now in center, start of the game in left. Sam Travis pinch hitting here for JD Martinez.
Don, can you fix my scorecard for me?
Yeah, I could try. Mine's not really ready, game ready yet, though. So you got Torreyes now at second base. And at short is Echeverria. Sam Travis leading it off here, pinch hitting for JD Martinez, who had struck out twice today. Lance Lynn into inning number 3 of relief here today. Domingo Germán started the game on an inning and a third. Saw Stephen Tarpley for 2/3, and Lance Lynn ever since. The Yankees offensively have been putting together some runs. They scored 3 in the 4th. 3 in the 5th as Travis strikes out for the first out of the 5th inning. We're talking about the American League Cy Young Award battle, and AJ, you already yelled out your pick, Blake Snell.
How can you not? Look at that ERA, 1.90, 21 wins. Just amazing. You talked to Alex Cora before the game. There was a highlight of him in his office. He's like, man, this guy's disgusting. He's so good, and he's young. So for me, Blake Snell. But the more interesting one, as we talked about, was the other awards that are kind of out there in the MVP. But for me, Tony said no, it doesn't matter if they're on a good team. Yes, it does matter, because most valuable player, and usually value comes in wins, right? WAR, in the world of WAR and FIP and all this stuff that I don't know what it all means exactly, but there's so many analytics. But at the end of the day, usually the best player is the team Mookie Betts, who's won the most games, and he's done the most to help his team win the game. So for me, absolutely the guy. There's rare years where it doesn't do that, but in this year, Mookie Betts is the best player.
I'm with you on MVP. I don't know about Cy Young. That's the one thing I agree with you.
Yeah, the thing is that, when you give an award based on winning records or a winning team, then you're rewarding that player for having good players around him that helped him have that winning team. So maybe his production helped put that winning team over the top, but you were penalizing the guy on the team that didn't play around great players. And Jacob deGrom's a perfect example of the Cy Young in the National League. You could use that argument. Well, he didn't pitch important games in September, or he didn't really get tested. He got tested every game he pitched because he didn't have run support. He was pitching against himself. And you talk about pressure. I've been in that spot before. And how can you use that against Jacob deGrom because his teammates around him weren't good enough to get him to a postseason game?
No, I agree with you. Jacob deGrom is the NL Cy Young. There's no other guys have had great years. Scherzer and even Nola for a while was having a great year, but Jacob deGrom had a historic year with his ERA and what he did, and he won 10 games. It's not like he was like 4-12. He ended up 10-9. So, yeah, I understand that they didn't. But you know what? Jacob deGrom can hit. So you want to score some runs? Drive him in yourself.
He actually did hit the ball.
I know he did a few times.
Swing and a miss here, and Devers strikes out. Your thoughts, JP?
Going back 40 years, only 3 AL pitchers in the last 40 years with 20 or more wins and an ERA under 2. Ron Guidry of the Yankees, 1978. Roger Clemens of the Red Sox in 1990. And Blake Snell of the Rays this year. And AJ, you mentioned Blake Snell's youth. Blake Snell is the youngest pitcher with those numbers in the AL since Vida Blue, 21 years old in 1971.
That's incredible. 2 down here in the 5th inning. Mitch Moreland swinging and lifting one. Back at third. And Duhar backpedaling on the short lawn and left takes care of out number 3. We're through 5 from the Fens with the Yankees on top 7-2. The Yankees amassed 4 home runs last night. Home run today for Gleyber Torres, and now 265 home runs this season. That, by the way, most all time. They expected the Yankees to hit some home runs. I'm not sure they expected them to hit that many home runs.
You have to factor in too, as well, is that Aaron Judge was out for almost 2 months. They lost that kind of production. You know, a rookie who hit over 50 last year.
Keith Hembree, the new arm used here by the Red Sox. He is the 4th arm used by Alex Cora today. 67 games out of the Boston pen. Brett Gardner, who started this game in left, is now the center fielder and leading it off here in the 6th inning. Hembree taking over for Brandon Workman, who has touched for 3 runs in an inning after Eduardo Rodriguez gave up 3 runs in 2 innings of his own. So not great final tune-ups for a couple guys here today.
Just get through it healthy. Just get through it healthy. The intensity. I know that the intensity is different. You can say, yes, you're a professional. Yes, you try your best. But at the same time, the intensity is different in this game than it is in a game in July with the season on the line or in a tight pennant race. Everything's been decided, so the intensity is different. It's hard to simulate.
I think we saw that in last night's game, which still meant something, certainly to the Yankees and the Red Sox as well. They'd love to knock the Yankees out to Oakland for that wild card game, but the pitching was different. The Red Sox had their A lineup in there, but they managed the game on the bullpen side much differently than they would have if this were a playoff game.
Popped up, foul ground as Devers gives chase, but ends up inside the Yankees dugout. They're housed on the third base side here at Fenway Park. Shadows are an issue here as they creep out towards the mound. Home plate completely now in the shadows, and of course right field here, the sun field at Fenway Park, and in the eyes of Blake Swihart out there on right.
One of the worst shadowed fields, Fenway Park. Used to just not want to play in a day game here because of what we just showed with the shadows. So hard to hit it. You're facing Tim Wakefield throwing a knuckleball. Don't know which way it's going. You get Durwood Merrill behind the plate, who had the biggest strike zone of all time and didn't want to be back there with Wakefield in a day game. No chance. So just hope the catcher missed it when he swung at strike 3 so you could run down to first.
Sun has just now ducked out in behind the clouds as we talk about the shadows. 5-run lead for New York as they bat here in the 6th inning.
We mentioned Brett Gardner as well earlier, what his role would be. Longest tenured Yankee. No guarantee he'll be back next year either, as he does have an option for next year of a little over $12 million and a $2 million buyout. So a decision to be made on the Yankees' behalf too. Brett Gardner clearly wants to keep playing. Would love to come back to the Yankees, but future's uncertain.
Let's say fly ball out towards left center field. Benintendi moving over and under to handle out number 1 of the 6th inning. Today's telecast is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by MasterCard. One down here in the 6th inning. Brings up Andrew McCutchen as the breeze headed out at the moment. Not much of one here today. Yankees enjoying a 5-run lead. 4th plate appearance of the day for McCutchen, who has struck out, singled, and struck out again. You feel like he has played his way in to be in the outfield and be in that lineup.
Absolutely. His production has been just remarkable at the top of the order.
Drives this to center field pretty well. Jackie Bradley Jr. going back, and he'll make the catch. Running onto the dirt of the track out there. Jackie Bradley Jr. handles out number 2.
That's the way the Yankees have played it, really, the better part of the last month since Andrew McCutchen has been here. He's been the leadoff hitter, and Brett Gardner, a true leader on this team, has not complained once as he's ceded playing time to Andrew McCutchen. I don't see any change in the postseason at all.
You talked about Brett Gardner's option for next year. If they don't pick it up and say the Yankees come to Brett Gardner and say, hey, we want to re-sign you, will it affect him at all wanting to come back here? I know he wants to be a Yankee for life. I get that. But, hey, you gave my spot away to a guy you traded for, and I've been here this long. That has to sting a little bit, right, for Brett Gardner?
No doubt about it. And his role coming back most likely next year with the Yankees would be as more of a fourth outfielder. And he still has a lot to offer. Brett Gardner is a great defender in left field. He's a Gold Glove winner. I think he should have won multiple Gold Gloves.
And we're all prideful people, especially athletes. We have egos. And, hey, guess what? I lost my job to a guy. And I know you try to stay professional and keep the personal side, but it does sting. I mean, it stings.
Reminds me of the Jacoby Ellsbury situation in 2007 when Coco Crisp had been the center fielder for most of that year. You get to the postseason and Jacoby Ellsbury takes over that job and win the championship in 07 against the Colorado Rockies. And I want to ask you, David Cone, what has gone on with Jacoby Ellsbury and what has worked out to be a very bad contract for the Yankees?
Yeah, it's been one injury after another. And they ended up getting surgery this year. Coming out of spring training, I mean, there's been a list of injuries. At least a half a dozen different types of injuries. And he ended up with a hip surgery before the season was over. So just a Murphy's Law year for Jacoby Ellsbury. It really wasn't around the team at all that much. Mostly relegated to Tampa and rehab, and then on the operating table before the season was over. So the future's uncertain there for him, whether he'll be ready even to play next year at all.
Saw Stephen Wright warming up in the pen, and there's a swing and a miss for Wade, who strikes out. A good 1-2-3 inning for Heath Hembree out of the pen. 7-2 Yankees. And Sonny Gray coming in here. He has made 6 relief appearances, and a very disappointing year for Gray overall.
It really has. Relegated to the bullpen for the better part of the second half of the year.
What do you see with him, and what has been his major issues?
To me, it's been command. His inability to command his fastball consistently has really hurt him. Basically a fastball breaking ball pitcher, more like a 2-pitch pitcher with different variations off of his fastball that can cut or sink. Still has a quality breaking ball, but the command of that breaking ball has been inconsistent at best this year.
Has the stage of New York been an issue, do you think, at all, from a mindset standpoint?
Only he can truly answer that question, but there has been whispers of possibly the toughness of New York getting to him a little bit. And he has heard that Bronx cheer walking off the mound, and until you've been in that situation and felt that, you never know how you're going to react.
Fouled off to the right out of play, and Kinsler leading it off here in the 6th inning against Sonny Gray.
I mean, this guy he had elite stuff. This guy was like, you looked up in probable pitchers, you're like, I got to face Sonny Gray. I better bring my A game. I better lock it down. And to see the struggles that he has, just it amazes me, because this guy is good. He was good, really good.
Lined and off the glove. Echeverria laying it out. It's going to end up at short left, and Kinsler's going to end up at second base. A diving bid by Echeverria, the shortstop, can't come up with it, and Kinsler's at second to start the bottom of the 6th inning. It's a double for Kinsler.
Another hanging breaking ball is up and out over the plate. Kinsler just enough to get to the outfield grass. Echeverria, he's got some serious range. If he can't get it, nobody can.
He looked like he was disappointed he didn't catch it. The look on his face looked like he thought, man, I should have had that ball easy, and just ticked off his glove. And Kinsler running hard, easy double.
Stands at second with nobody out here in the 6th inning. Jackie Bradley Jr. will take a strike. Doubled in the 2nd inning to drive in a run, grounded out to second base in the 4th inning. Bounces in, blocked by Romine, who kicks it up the third base line. No advance for Kinsler at second base.
Nice job by Romine, squaring it up on the short breaking ball by Sonny Gray, keeping Kinsler from advancing to third with no outs. And that's your argument, right? For Romine to start that's the pro Romine guy's argument for him to start the wild card game over Gary Sanchez behind the plate, is that play right there.
That's what a lot of Yankee fans have talked about, without a doubt.
It's not happening, but that's their argument.
Yes, what happens if in the 9th inning with Chapman pitching or somebody like that, and that play comes up.
On the ground towards Reyes at second base, who gets it there in time to get Bradley as Kinsler takes third. Well, the stage is set, the lights are on as baseball's next generation chases October's crown. Major League Baseball postseason begins Tuesday. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule. It'll be so much fun this year. So many good teams on the stage of the postseason. So many good players. And not all of it has been determined in the National League yet. Keeping an eye on that today. National League West situation, the NL Central situation. And who expected among us to have this scene going on in Oakland this year? I mean, I don't think anybody predicted this.
They thought they were going to be better, but they didn't think they were going to be this good and get on this good of a run. We were talking in May and June that the AL Division playoffs were over, meaning Seattle because they had such a big lead over Oakland, Red Sox, Yankees, Houston. Now, lo and behold, look at the A's. Just came out of nowhere and just kind of have been the best team since June. I mean, the best team in all of baseball with their record.
Chris Davis with 47 home runs leading the American League.
And I know this, nobody wants to play the A's. Their bullpen
You hear that a lot.
Their bullpen is so good and so deep.
Trinan at the end.
Trinan, Familia, Rodney. I mean, these guys are legit closers. Trevino, who throws 112. I mean, that guy's fastball is crazy.
Do you worry about their rotation, though, heading into a series of any kind?
Yeah, I mean, that's the formula. Get them early. Get the lead early against the A's and don't let them get to that bullpen. They also play good defense.
They've become, I know they don't want to talk about Moneyball out there anymore, but home runs and pitching. That was the success they used in the early 2000s to get to the playoffs, and this is the kind of the formula they've reinvented here. And the funny thing is they've made moves, and it's been young kids. It hasn't, and then their starters are kind of veteran guys. They kind of got off just other teams' rosters, and hey, they pieced it together. And with that bullpen, it's a tough out.
Lowest payroll to make the postseason, and they have made the postseason. One-game wild card game against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
Is there going to be any pressure on the Yankees in that game?
My.
The lowly A's with the low payroll and the team of just young kids against the mighty Bronx Bomber Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Oof.
Vasquez to right field. Wade is out there waiting, and he'll take care of out number 3. Played 6 from Fenway Park with the Yankees on top 7-2. Final home game, Adrian Beltre removed in the 6th inning, received a standing ovation from his home crowd. Active MLB hits leader, spent 8 seasons with the Texas Rangers in his 21st overall season. Time for the Swiffer powerful cleanup hitter and some other guys who are calling it the ends of careers. Victor Martinez with the Tigers, Chase Utley, 6-time All-Star, former Philly, now Dodger, and David Wright of the Mets calling it quits this year, and a familiar scene that'll be taking place a lot of places today and tomorrow across Major League Baseball.
Just a great moment for Beltre, Hall of Famer. David Wright coming back from what he came back from. Victor Martinez, his last at bat in Detroit, got a great ovation. As a player, that's all you can ask for. You don't always get the opportunity to pick when you're going to go out. David Wright obviously did. We talked about it when we were in Atlanta. The Braves gave me that opportunity. Nobody knew except for myself and my teammates, and my family. So it's pretty cool when you kind of get to pick the way you're going to go out and end it on your terms.
Yeah, it's obvious that Adrian Beltre's next stop is Cooperstown. And not only Cooperstown is that a foregone conclusion, but when you're talking about the greatest third baseman of all time, he's now in that conversation. And Mike Schmidt at the top. You talk about guys like George Brett. Adrian Beltre's in that conversation.
Just don't touch his head. Ever. JP with more.
Well, Don, only 4 third basemen ever with more than 450 home runs who played about 75% of their games at third base in the game's history. Mike Schmidt, Eddie Matthews, Adrian Beltre, Chipper Jones.
That's amazing. This one is driven deep and far to left field. It comes down. The Yankees are going to add another run. Giancarlo Stanton has homered, and New York takes an 8-2 lead. Stanton getting his 38th home run of the year.
He got hit by the ball. The fan threw it back, and it hit Stanton running around the bases. Hanging knuckleball from Stephen Wright. Giancarlo Stanton does what you're supposed to do with it, deposit it over the left field wall, but watch the fan chuck it back. He throws it back, and he actually hits Stanton with the ball as he's rounding second. What an arm! Sign him up. Boop.
Not sure they're going to sign him up, AJ. I think they may throw him out, though, because they're down there with security right now. Phil Nevin, third base coach, is pointing in the direction of who threw it, and they're down there with security right now. 2 umpires are over there, Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, and Laz Diaz, and trying to point out that fan.
It's the guy in the Red Sox shirt, Don. Pick one.
Why don't you just call him out? Maybe you can help him out.
Pretty good arm. Let's blur out his face so he doesn't get in trouble. There he is.
That's him. I don't think I've seen that before, where it hits the guy who hits the home run.
Pretty good aim.
Yeah, he didn't see it coming at all.
One hopper.
You don't expect that when you run around the bases.
The best part, Stanton actually got a chuckle out of it when he touched home plate.
38 home runs on the year for him. Yankees have upped their lead to 8-2. Tip of the cap for the throw, I guess.
See, he's thinking they should sign him up too. Maybe he can come out of the bullpen.
This one the other way down the right field line towards the pole and headed foul. Off the bat of Adeiny Hechavarria, who bats for the first time after taking over defensively at shortstop for New York. To 56 homers, 31 runs batted in for him. One of the changes the Yankees have made here in the second half of this game. One of the changes the Red Sox have made is Stephen Wright, who has been very productive coming out of the bullpen here. And this is an interesting weapon now for Alex Cora.
Yes, I think without a doubt, because he can fill so many roles. Come in early in the game, extra innings. You would feel very comfortable throwing him in just about any situation.
This one will get away from Vasquez, and trying to reach Hechavarria, but he won't on the strikeout. He is retired 2-3 for the first out of the 7th inning.
That's the one thing about Stephen Wright that you worry about. Bringing him with guys on base, bringing him in with guys on bases, pass ball / wild pitch, because it's so hard. It's such a different environment and such a different thought process for the catcher. You're just trying to knock the ball down. You saw it there. Luckily, Echeverria wasn't running because he didn't realize that Vasquez missed it, but you always have the thought in the back of your mind, pass ball, because it's so hard to catch a knuckleballer, especially a knuckleball as good as Stephen Wright's.
Well, for years, Tim Wakefield dazzled the knuckleball here at Fenway Park as Blake Swihart, wandering over towards the seats, will make the catch onto the dirt of the track for out number 2. Now changes defensively now as Swihart moves from right field to left field. Zue Lin takes over in center with Jackie Bradley Jr. going to right. So a little different looking outfielder situation here for the Red Sox as we move to the 7th inning. Home run by Stanton starts the inning. A strikeout and a flyout takes us to Greg Bird. Doubled back in the 4th inning to drive in a run. 1 for 3 day today for the Yankees first baseman. Wakefield at one point here was closing games during a short period of time, but that was a little dicey when you got a knuckleballer coming in to close games in those situations.
And not only the pass balls, but the running game as well. Easier to steal on.
You got the shift on, and this one will be handled by Devers in short left, but it'll be a base hit for Bird. Defense alignment there worked for Bird that time, and he's aboard with 2 down here in the 7th.
Something to be said for just making contact, putting the ball in play. The old saying, hit them where they ain't. Well, there was nobody on the left side. Stephen Wright throws a knuckleball, and Greg Bird literally just puts the bat on the ball and gets a knock, and he creeps just a little bit closer to 200. He wants that 200.
Toughest pitch to hit for you, knuckleball?
Oh, no, that was my bat speed. Ask Wakefield. Every time I see him, like, thank you, you were in the league so long. I could hit you 75. For me, it was a cutter. I hated cutters. I couldn't hit them, and I couldn't lay off them. And obviously Mariano became, so whoever invented the cutter, I want to figure out a way to bring them back and torture them the way the cutter tortured me over my career.
The lack of rotation on the knuckleball amazes me.
That's too much. See, it doesn't move. It doesn't dance. The old saying when you're hitting a knuckleball, high let it fly, low let it go, and that one's right down the middle with too much rotation, and Stanton doesn't miss it.
Yeah, number 38 for Stanton, and also 100 RBIs on the button for the year.
Well, swing and a miss here, and striking out is Romine to end the inning. Giancarlo Stanton with home run number 38 of the year gives the Yankees an 8-2 lead. He sent it out, didn't expect that it would come back. Got him around the bases. 8-2 New York. sponsored by IBM. Let's put smart to work. And by USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. Ted Williams statue outside Fenway Park here. It's 8-2. Yankees have the lead to the last of the 7th inning. Zue Lin going to lead it off. Part of the changes for the Red Sox last inning. Took over defensively in center field. Now bats for the first time in the 2nd inning of relief for Sonny Gray. After giving up a double, Ian Kinsler tired the side in order. We'll talk about the rotation on the knuckleball for Stephen Wright, and it did improve as that inning went on. The lack thereof.
What are you looking for when you're hitting off a knuckleballer? The first pitch to Stanton, or the first one to Stanton that he hit for a home run, rotation. This one rotates at least 2 times before Stanton hits it out of the park. Whack. And then the last pitch of the inning, this one doesn't even rotate 1 time. We'll show it after this pitch. This is a good knuckleball. Watch the label. You see the blue, the Rawlings? It barely gets back around before Romine swings and misses at it. That's a good knuckleball. That's a dancing knuckleball.
Check swing foul off to the left. David, you ever experiment with one during the course of your career?
Yeah, never on the mound. Yeah, every pitcher tries to throw them before the game when you're playing catch. It's a very hard pitch to master. Yeah, you hear that every year when you see successful knuckleballers like Stephen Wright or Tim Wakefield. Why aren't there more? Because it's hard. It's really hard to master it.
Sorry, Dickey winning a Cy Young Award. This one on the ground to second base. To Reyes. Throws out Lynn for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning. One down, and Brock Holt coming up. Singled back in the 1st inning, since then a strikeout and a pop out. With one down here in the 7th. Sun in and out of the clouds today. Lights are on here at Fenway Park. As Sonny Gray works into his 2nd inning of relief. Cloud covered here at the moment. It won't be long before there's a chill in the air here at Fenway Park, and the ALDS will come to Boston.
October baseball, there's nothing better. Play your whole, you put 8 months of time in for October baseball.
At this point of the year, everybody's got something wrong, right? From a medical standpoint, I mean, something hurts.
Most of the time. Most of the time, yes. Something's barking, your toes, your shin, your knee, your shoulder. Very, very rarely do you get through a whole season without getting a nick.
But the adrenaline of the postseason, I'm sure, takes over.
It's a whole different animal, right, Coney? As soon as they play the anthem and you walk out on the line to be introduced for the postseason series, everything goes away. You play with things that you could never thought you could possibly play with easily, and don't even think about it. And then after the game, you're like, "Ow, that kind of hurts now."
It's just every pitch is magnified in the postseason. Not only for the players, but the fans, the reaction to it, the pressure. One of the greatest players in Yankee history was Don Mattingly. He got 1 shot at postseason in 1995. He got 1 series. And he'll never forget it. He still to this day talks about the different feel of those games compared to all the different games he played during the regular season.
That is strike 3 over the outside corner to Holt, and the 2nd strikeout for Sonny Gray since coming into the game. So 2 down here in the 7th inning. We've been talking about the postseason. The MLB postseason begins Tuesday with the NL wildcard on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern, and Wednesday with the AL wildcard on TBS at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then Thursday, the National League Division Series begins on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. October history for the Red Sox since their World Series in 2013. They would finish 5th in the AL East in both 2014 and 2015. The glow did not last long after the World Championship in 2013. Of course, John Farrell was at the helm of the 2013 World Championship, and for the Red Sox, their third World Series victory in 10 years. They lose the ALDS in 16 and 17 last year to the Houston Astros on the way to their World Championship. Took care of the Red Sox pretty quickly in the ALDS a season ago. This year, the Astros will open up the postseason in the ALDS against the Cleveland Indians.
Not an easy town. They've won 3 World Series in under 15 years. Most fan bases would be ecstatic about that.
That is strike 3. Sam Travis strikes out for the second time. It's a 1-2-3 inning. 8-2 New York. On MLB.tv. Simply log in with an MLB.com account to watch live on any supported device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv. It's on to the 8th inning back at Fenway Park. Hector Velasquez into the game, and that is strike 1 to Ronald Torreyes. Velasquez taking over for Wright. Win an inning, giving up 2 hits and a run. The home run by Giancarlo Stanton that has put the Yankees on top here 8-2.
And Velasquez, another guy vying for a postseason. Started games, come out of the bullpen for the Red Sox, can be a swing guy. Seems like that's all we've seen today. You're going to start, you're going to be out of the pen. What are you going to do for us in the postseason, and who's it going to be?
Mound in the shadows now, so you got the plate and the mound in the shadows. Still bright sunshine though in the batter's eye, and the backdrop out there. Does that make a difference at all?
Yeah, it's hard to see. Anytime you have a bright background and a pitcher throwing out of shadows, or even if there's a break somewhere, it's hard to see. The lights don't really kick in, they don't really do anything. It's just hard to see. And spin, it's hard to see, because as a hitter you look for spin, or you look at the window and you see a slight uptick on a breaking ball, or you see something different. But when it's dark and there's bright background, it's just hard to see. Coney would have been, not that he wasn't good anyways, but in this shadows, whoo, would not have been a fun at bat.
Kind of surrounded the plate but missed to Torreyes here. Full count to lead it off in the 8th inning for New York. Fouls it off himself all the way down to third baseman Rafael Devers. Now the Cardinals have stayed alive today by beating the Cubs 2-1. So St. Louis is not dead yet. And we take a look at the full standings at the moment, as the Cardinals in the wild card scenario chop to third. Devers on to first for out number 1 of the 8th inning. Keeps the Dodgers from securing a spot at the moment too. They have not clinched because of that Cardinals victory.
Chaos. Chaos, I tell you, Don. Chaos.
That's what you wanted.
Everybody deep down wants chaos in this last day of the season. Except for the teams involved.
Yeah. You told me today you were thinking about coming back. Is that true?
Yeah. Coming back as what?
As a catcher in the big leagues. More time. I asked him how he felt today on the way over, and he said he felt great. I don't know any catcher, especially a guy who's caught the 6th most games in the history of Major League Baseball, and he feels great. His knees are great. Everything's great. It's in fantastic shape. I don't see why you don't come back. I don't get it.
It's too hard. Have you watched this game?
I have.
These guys are throwing way harder. If I could get the guys throwing 88 again, then I'd have a chance. But the 98 is a problem.
So it's the hitting part of this that is the issue, not the catching part. You can still catch.
I was joking with Phil Nevin before the game. I'm like, come on, man. I got a game in me. Sign me up for tomorrow. And Nevin's like, come on. Just laughing at me. Just kind of whisked me away. But, yeah, I mean, I could go out there and I would not embarrass myself, but I also wouldn't be any good.
There's a reason why there's not a seniors tour in baseball. Although they did try that at one point.
They did. There's Phil Nevin. He could be on the senior tour.
Part of the new coaching staff here in New York under Aaron Boone. And we talk a lot about Aaron Boone. Let's talk about his staff a little bit, David. What has that been like, the changes here for the staff under Aaron Boone?
Well, it's been top to bottom. And, you know, you forget about the little things. You know, these guys had to relocate to New York, find places to live, get integrated into the community, into the team. It really has been, other than Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, a complete reshuffling of the deck for the Yankees and their staff.
2 down. Well, Nevin had been managing at the minor league level successfully. A lot of talk about him perhaps becoming a major league manager at some point. Nevin, third base coach for Bruce Bochy for a year with the San Francisco Giants before going to New York here to join Aaron Boone's staff.
And they're friends. Aaron Boone and Phil Nevin have been friends for a long, long time. Phil's good friends with Aaron's brother Brett, who had a nice, amazing major league career. They both live out in Southern California, both from out there, so they're friends. Reggie Willits, their first base coach, is a Yankee guy in the minor leagues they promoted. Larry Rothschild's been here forever. Harkey, their bullpen coach, has been here forever. So Marcus Timms, a former ex-player, that's one of their hitting guys. There's some consistency, but they also felt like it was time to bring in some new blood, and they've done a great job of working them all in, and they've gelled nicely. And as Coney said, I mean, it's been different, but it's been something good for the Yankees.
This one is lined to right field, and over is Jackie Bradley Jr. quickly to cut it off. 2-out base hit for Andrew McCutchen. Well, you got a little history with Aaron Boone, as it turns out.
Got to show this, don't we?
I didn't know this.
That's right. Look at that.
Just step on a guy. Why not?
Hey, don't get in my way. Watch.
Jeez, I'm going to step on you. Then the next season, Boone returns a favor. Oh, yeah.
He won.
Down goes Pierzynski.
He won. So Aaron Boone and I have known each other for a long time, obviously. And when I stepped on him, he was kind of mad, but he was glad I had plastic spikes on. And then the next year, when he ran me over, he kind of was like, after he came up to hit, he's like, remember when you stepped on me?
There you go.
There you go, payback. And if you see, my glove went flying, my helmet went flying, and he still jokes. Every time I see him, he's still like, isn't that your screensaver on your phone? Like, you're stepping on my back. And no, Aaron, unfortunately, it's not.
I had no idea. We go in there today, and I don't know a lot of the history between you and just people in general.
Watch. Look, he should have gotten my way. Joey Cora, Alex Cora's brother, third base coach, but
you didn't have to step on him.
I did. I'm not that athletic. I wasn't going to let him get up and throw me out of the play. It was a big game in 2005. White Sox had a huge lead, and the Indians were making him run to try to get back at us, and it was a big run right there. And poor Booney just happened to be in the way, and we still laugh about it. And he doesn't like seeing that video.
It's kind of and I've been around you now 3 weekends in a row. It's kind of a mixed reaction when people see AJ. I'm not sure what to make of it. And I don't know a lot of the history. Well, now I know why when we went into his office today that he kind of looked at you weird. Touching second is Holt. That will end the inning, and I want to see more of that video. Day 2, Yankees. Again. And by Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories. Back in Boston and timeout for our Budweiser game summary. Some milestones here today for New York. And Duhar with his 45th double passes DiMaggio for the New York rookie record. New York offense, first team Major League Baseball, 20+ home runs by each spot in the order. That was thanks to Gleyber Torres. Giancarlo Stanton had hit a solo home run, his 100th RBI of the year. Andrew Benintendi, 53rd multi-hit game, hit most in the majors on the Red Sox side of things. We move along to the bottom of the 8th, and Brandon Phillips going to lead it off pinch hitting for Rafael Devers.
He talked about guys making comebacks. Here you go, Brandon Phillips. Played last year, kind of out of it, and then the Red Sox late sign. Went to the minor leagues, guy with a long career, multiple All-Star games, and here he is in September getting an at bat. Wanted one more. You always want one more at bat, right, Coney? You want one more pitch, one more inning, one more at bat, whatever it is. And this guy did it right. He went down to the minor leagues, grinded it out, and here he is back in the big leagues.
September call up for Phillips.
Tommy Kahnle into the game here now for New York, takes over for Sonny Gray.
Tommy Kahnle's also had kind of a tough year this year after a great year last year. Was a big part of their pen. Power righty.
Operating at 97 miles an hour to the first hitter, Brandon Phillips. Takes over for Sonny Gray and went 2 innings, giving up 1 hit, struck out 3. As Gray worked the 6th and 7th innings. That is ball 4, and not the way Kahnle wanted to start his outing here with an 8-2 lead, walking the first hitter of the bottom of the 8th inning.
Sonny Gray did a nice job. 2 innings. Very nice job coming out of the bullpen for the Yankees.
Not sure where Tommy Kahnle fits in the picture for postseason at this point.
I was going to ask you that. Is there anybody really who you think maybe on the bubble here as far as the postseason roster for the Yankees, at least?
Yeah, certainly you've got 2 different setups, and one for the wild card game, which is a completely different roster and setup for one game, and then potentially, if you get past that, for the 5-game set against Boston. Matchups play a key. I would say Tommy Kahnle is one of these guys that's probably on the bubble, and that's why you saw Stephen Tarpley, a young rookie lefty, earlier in the game, because he might be more suited for the left-handed matchup that AJ was talking about, whether it be Andrew Benintendi or somebody else.
Tarpley came in, worked 2/3 of an inning, and a strikeout, but no hits, no runs. Didn't walk anybody. This is a hot shot to second base. Torres will fire wildly to first, and errantly. No further advance for the runners as Moreland will reach at first. Phillips takes second base.
Nice play by Torres to knock this down. Ball in and out of the shadows. Ball is scorched. Tries to make an amazing play. Throws a little wild. But fortunately for the Yankees, it bounces right to Austin Romine, who actually was in the right spot to play the carom. Holds Phillips and the base runners to no advance.
So it is a base hit for Moreland, his first of the day, second time he has been on. He had walked in the 3rd inning. First 2 have reached for the Red Sox here in the 8th. That brings up Ian Kinsler.
So this is an audition, right, for Tommy Kahnle to possibly be on the postseason roster?
I would say he's on the bubble at best at this point. And if he were right and healthy again, he would be a big part of the mix as he was last year. But he's had some injury issues earlier this year and some velocity issues and now command issues. Could definitely see Tommy Kahnle bouncing back and being a very effective reliever, but probably not till next year. I'm not sure if the Yankees view him as an option for the postseason roster.
5th arm used today by Aaron Boone in the game. 2 on, nobody out for the Red Sox here in the 8th. Kinsler's ahead 2-0.
And here are the command issues you just talked about, David. Walked the leadoff hitter. Now 2-0 to Kinsler after a base hit. Don't look now, but the Red Sox are threatening to get back into this game.
Holder up in the pen right now for New York as Kahnle has started a tough 8th inning. That's a strike, and it's 2-1. Went to the gas at 96.
The postseason's such a different animal when you could use starters as relievers.
And keep some relievers off the roster.
You really can put the squeeze on what you would normally see your bullpen look like.
Strike 2, and it evens up the high strike call. 2-2. Kinsler today has walked, stolen a base, scored a run, grounded into a fielder's choice, and last time up a double. That's with Phillips at second, Moreland at first, nobody out in the Boston 8th. And a full count now.
Tommy Kahnle, basically a 2-pitch pitcher, AJ, and his secondary pitch that he goes to is that changeup. Tries to get movement on it, get it to go down. Not a traditional right-on-right advantage with a slider.
That's ball 4. The second walk allowed by Kahnle, and all of a sudden they're loaded. Comes Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach for New York. 2 walks, a hit, and the bases are loaded. Now, some of the question marks about the Yankees headed to the postseason. Dealing with Didi's injury, injured September 22nd. He's now started back-to-back games for New York. Winning the wild card game is going to have to come first. Getting Severino's best will even start that game. The health of Aaron Judge appears to be pretty good. And what to do with Gary Sanchez is certainly a question mark that we have delved into today. Some questions for the Yankees.
Yeah, I think the biggest one on that list was Didi Gregorius answering the bell the last 2 games. Looked good here in this particular game. Was able to play back-to-back. No ill effects from his wrist injury. And to me, that was top of the list because he changes everything, the whole dynamic. Who do you play at shortstop if Didi can't go? Do you move Gleyber Torres, the rookie second baseman, over to short? Neil Walker can play second at that point. But the fact that Didi's healthy, to me, at the top of that list is the most important thing.
Bases filled with Red Sox here as Jackie Bradley Jr. takes ball 1.
Well, how about who starts the wild card game? That's number 1. I think J.P. Morosi broke all the rules and found out from Aaron Boone by being sneaky in his questioning earlier in the game. But it looks like Jay Happ, but we don't know that for sure. So who starts, and will Severino be a big part of that game or not?
I really feel like that's your answer. Really, to have Jay Happ start, and then if you bring Severino in, 2 starters in that game at some point.
That's an interesting concept, and even Aaron Boone has said that they almost have it scripted how they're going to manage that game. Jay Happ could have 3 scoreless innings, and he may be out of the game for Severino or somebody else, and depending on the matchups that they like.
That's ball 3, and Kahnle right now having trouble finding the strike zone as he falls behind 3-0 with the bases loaded.
Well, that's where that you talk about having it scripted. Well, you can't, if Jay Happ goes out there and is just firing 4 or 5 shutout, you can't. I know you want to script it, but you got to leave. It happened. It killed the Dodgers in the World Series last year. Rich Hill was dealing. They took him out, and it cost them their bullpen for the next 5 games. So I like the scripting, but you got to go off the script.
That's a great point, and that's what's going to make that game so interesting is how they manage it. First test for a young manager, too, a rookie manager, Aaron Boone, in that type of situation.
Well, they stand as 1 at Fenway. Popped up foul, back it out of play, full count.
That's where the feel. People talk about anyone can manage, anyone can be a big league manager. Well, that's where the feel of a manager has to come in. I know the analytics, it's driven by analytics now, but you have to have a feel for your team and a feel for certain players. And there's a time where analytics, yes, are great, but you also have to know, hey, this guy's just shoving. Let's just leave him out there and steal as many outs as possible.
Phillips at third, Moreland at second, Kinsler at first. Red Sox have him loaded here in the 8th. Bradley lifts a fly ball down the left field line. McCutchen headed over towards the seats. It'll come back, and he'll make the catch for the first out at the bottom of the 8th inning. And a quick check on Phillips at third base, but to get back on the bag. A lot of accomplishments here this year for Boston. 107 wins. They got 10 grand slams this year. One shy of the franchise record, which was in 2005. The year after, of course, the Red Sox broke the 86-year curse in 2004. Swihart batting with the bases loaded, 1 down. Double in the 4th inning. Struck out twice today. 1 for 3 days. Started the game in right field. Has moved to left field since. Kahnle trying to work his way around 2 walks and a base hit in this inning.
Well, the Red Sox could be right in the middle of this game. They had runners on first and third, no outs, second and third, 1 out, and failed to score a couple times. So they get some of those runs in. This It's going to be even a bigger at bat for Swihart in this game.
Down 1-2, and 22 pitches so far thrown by Kahnle since coming in. On the ground right side, Torres will go to first. Run will score. Out number 2 picked up. Swihart retired, but a run scores in the back door. Comes Brandon Phillips, and it's now 8-3 New York. Kahnle tries to minimize the damage here. Picks up out number 2.
A nice little comeback from Tommy Kahnle. After falling down 3-0 with the bases loaded, came all the way back to get the pop out to left, and then a nice change up there to Swihart to get the ground ball to second base. And all things considered, if he can get out of this and get this out with only 1 run, mission accomplished.
2 down, second and third. Christian Vasquez has been hit by a pitch, struck out, and lined out. 4th plate appearance of the day for the Boston catcher. '25th pitch of the inning coming up here for Kahnle. Moreland at third, Kinsler at second with 2 outs in the 8th. Certainly throws hard. We've seen 97 to 98 here since coming in.
Yeah, his velocity has gradually been getting better over the last several appearances. It's routinely where he was last year, the upper 90s with his fastball in his breakout year.
Vasquez fouls it off to the right, and it's 1-2.
You know, on the flip side of this, as Boston is going to have plenty of time to get ready for a nice little series here. Almost a whole week.
Is it too much time?
That's the other question, is how do you stay sharp and what do you have to do?
I never liked that excuse. We had too much time off. You hear it in the playoffs. You want to win series as quick as possible. Then you're rewarded with time off. And yeah, it's not the same, but I mean, you take at bats off your guys and you get at bats. But I always thought that was like the lamest excuse. Oh, we had a week off in between series. Well, okay, well then lose a couple games. Try to lose a couple games and play a game 7. See if you like that better. I mean, enjoy the time off. It's a reward. You think the Yankees would rather have a week off or have to play a 1-game wild card against the A's? I think they'd take the week off in a heartbeat.
Full count, runners at second and third, a run in. Vasquez back to the pitcher. Kahnle knocks it down and fires to first in time for the out. And will end the inning. Red Sox do get a run back. We played 8 from Fenway. It's 8-3 New York. Mobile 40 years ago Tuesday, 1978 one-game tiebreaker for the AL East title. Yankees here at Fenway trailing 2-0 in the seventh. Bucky Dent had a go-ahead 3-run home run. The Yankees would win the game by a final of 5-4. As the Yankees had overcome a 14-game July deficit to force the one-game tiebreaker.
Bucky Bleepin' Dent, right?
That's right.
They love him here at Fenway.
Aaron something Boone is also referred to as.
David Bleepin' Cohn, I think they remember him here also as.
Kyle Higashioka pinch hitting here to begin things in the ninth. Pinch hits in the spot of Giancarlo Stanton, who has one of 2 home runs in this game for the Yankees. Velasquez back out there again for Boston, his second inning of relief. Brandon Phillips staying in the game at third base after he pinch hit for Rafael Devers. Takes over for him at third now defensively.
It's that special time of year, AJ, the convergence of postseason baseball, college football today. Actually had exhibition basketball, NBA basketball on last night.
Hockey.
Hockey's going.
It's all starting. In the air to left field. Blake Swihart is out there in left. Takes care of out number 1 of the ninth inning. Let's get a game break from Mike Hill in the studio. All right, Mike, thanks very much. Back here in Boston, it is 8-3 with the Yankees on top, and a lot of pressure on the Dodgers really all season long. You get within a game of the World Series, forcing it to 7 games, and now anything short of winning a World Series is kind of a disappointment, I think, if you're Dave Roberts and the Dodgers, and now you're just trying to find a way in the postseason. Not what they expected.
No, they thought they would run away with the West, I believe. The team, they basically brought the same team back, very minimal adjustments, and
there's a drive out to right center field for Echeverria. He'll be caught on the track by Jackie Bradley Jr. for out number 2.
Wrong park, kid. Yankee Stadium, that ball's up in the bullpen, but here at Fenway, the Dodgers, they thought they were going to run away. And I always, even watching them from the beginning of the year, I think they just kind of thought, hey, we'll coast in. We're going to win the division going away. They had some injuries. Kenley Jansen with the heart. Kershaw missed some time, but
Seager was a big one
Seager
too.
going, but then they
got Machado.
They went and got Manny Machado. It's not like they went.
Add Brian Dozier. I mean, they made some pretty key additions.
They did, but by that point they had already kind of cemented their feelings on the year, and instead of them playing and getting a big lead, they were always from behind. They never got a lead, and now, heck, now they're right up in it, and 2 games left, they're a game behind, and they obviously can clinch a wild card spot, but they thought they'd be celebrating a division title weeks ago.
Well, Alex Cora coming out here with 2 down, a double by Andujar. And that may be the day for Velasquez as he will hand the baseball off. We get a pitching change from Fenway. Yankees have an 8-3 lead. nation chases October's crown. Major League Baseball postseason begins Tuesday. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule. Right around the corner, it is that time of year. Already seen many of these type celebrations, and it's about to be October as Robbie Scott checks in here for the Red Sox with a runner at second and 2 down.
Is there anything better as a player than those celebrations, David? Those are the best, right? And each one gets better when you clinch a playoff spot, and then you get to go to the division series, win that, then the LCS to go to the World Series, and when you win a World Series, it's the ultimate party.
Yeah, each one definitely gets better along the way, and especially for the young players who have never been through it before. And I think that was kind of, you know, the problem. Do we celebrate a wild card win? When do we celebrate? Okay, we just clinched a wild card berth. Is that worthy or on par with a division championship like the Red Sox were able to do at Yankee Stadium this year?
Yes, absolutely. It's a postseason. I know it could possibly be one game, but I think what people don't realize is how hard it is to make the playoffs in baseball. Even with the 2 wild cards, there's still only 10 teams out of 30. So there's way more. There's twice as many teams that don't get to do it. And in a lot of the other leagues with the 16 teams, there's more teams that make it than don't. So yes, it's still special, and it's still really hard to make it.
That was the question we had in 1995. The Yankees were the first wild card winner in the American League in 1995, and we had that discussion with Don Mattingly. Do we celebrate this? What do we do?
We're number 4. I mean, that's
yes. What do we?
That's kind of what you're looking at.
And what was his answer?
What do we call this? So the wild card winner? You know,
did he say yes?
We did. It was his first taste of postseason. We did have a celebration. We decided to honor it.
Now 2 down here. Duhar is at second base. Greg Bird batting for the 5th time today, 2 for 4, and lines it foul off to the left. And JP, a little bit on the wild card success for some teams who have been victorious.
Yes, Don, you certainly want to win the division, but once you have won the wild card game under the current format, those wild card game winners actually have a better record in division series games than the #1 overall seeds in each league.
Playing your way in.
There's your argument for no rest, right? Come in hot, come in having to battle. The Red Sox have been on cruise control since what, April? They haven't had really meaningful games in
how hard is that? I mean, to flip the switch all of a sudden after it really hasn't meant a lot for a long time now for the Red Sox.
It shouldn't be hard. It's the playoffs, but Cleveland also. Cleveland's another team that's kind of since April 1st knew they were going to be in the postseason with their division. So
Houston last year too.
Houston last year, even Houston kind of this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the A's gave them a challenge, but they still won it pretty easily. Whereas you get teams like the Yankees and A's that are still battling, and they get the playoff experience of that one game.
Swing and a miss, and Robbie Scott does a nice job to end the top of the ninth. To the bottom of the ninth, 8-3 New York. doubleheader on Fox, starting in the Big Ten with number 14 Michigan visiting Northwestern. Then in the nightcap, number 11 Washington hosts 20th ranked BYU. All kicks off next on Fox and the Fox Sports app. It is on here to the bottom of the 9th inning, and Jonathan Holder into the game. 60th appearance. Had actually started a game for the Yankees earlier this year.
Yeah, he was actually the Yankees' first try at the opener against the Rays in the last series.
Line to right for Lynn. Down the right field line. Will jump up into the seats for the rule book double. It starts things here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Well, we're talking about a lot about the Yankees and what's coming up for them next week. The Red Sox postseason. Chris Sale. What if he loses game 1? A lot of pressure turns there in a big way with postseason. Will David Price be right after that, getting to Kimbrel the key, playing from behind, something they've not done a lot of. Been out ahead a lot of these games as part of their 107-win season, but there are a lot of questions there. And my first one was the first one that I said. If you manage to get to Sale in game 1, how much do you worry about David Price, especially if it's the Yankees in game 2?
Which Sale do you get? The healthy Sale that can dominate lineups. If you get that one, okay. But say whoever they play beats him, and then you have David Price, who's 0-9 as a starter in the postseason. Is there some panic that sets in Red Sox Nation? And then say David Price pitches well, and they're down a run or up a run in the 6th inning, and he has to come out of the game. Who gets the ball to Craig Kimbrel? And then finally, if they do lose game 1 in Boston to the Yankees or the A's, how much pressure will be on this team? They haven't had to play from behind. We just said it. They've coasted to the division. How much pressure is on the Red Sox in this town, with this media, with this fan base, if they lose game 1?
Here's a drive to right field, sending Wade back at the wall. That ball's gone into the pan. Brock Holt with a 2-run shot makes it 8-5. So the 2-run home run gets the Red Sox back within 3 here. Still nobody out in the 9th inning. For Brock Holt, his 7th of the year. RBIs 44 and 45 for a guy who's played all over.
Good player, Brock Holt. Nice moment for him late in the year. Those home runs, they all count at the end of the year.
And another look, a fastball right in the wheelhouse.
All of a sudden, this has become a save situation. So Aroldis Chapman is now up in the pen as this one cued foul. Sam Travis down on the count, 0-2. Back to the Chris Sale conversation we were just having. Keeping in mind that he would be scheduled to start game 1 of the ALDS. He's pitched fewer than 5 innings in each of his last 4 starts, albeit due to injury rehab, and they have been very careful in dealing with him. And of course, last year kind of ran out of steam at the end of the year. This one is up the middle into center field. Base hit keeps his bottom of the 9th inning going.
Chris Sale the last few years has struggled, and people wonder why. And the Red Sox, to their credit, have been very careful, especially this year because of what happened last year with him and how his ERA ballooned the second half. I know Chris Sale was hurt. He had some shoulder pain, but also the Red Sox are probably looking at it as positive. Hey, we got to give him a break, and he got to restart and reset the clock on his arm and his innings and everything. And that's why they've handled him with kid gloves. I don't know if you ever went through that, David, but it seems like the right move to me.
I agree. You know, sometimes extra rest can really help you. The problem is that the recent look at Sale is his velocity's been down. And we talked to Cora, the manager, before the game, and they're talking about mechanics, trying to fix him before that start coming up. So there still is a question about, is he at full strength? is his arm strength all the way back. His last start he threw 92 pitches, so he is stretched out to be able to give them 100 pitches. But you're really looking at 5 innings possibly, and what kind of velocity are you going to get from a guy who, when he's right, is as good as anybody in the game?
I guess that is the question, is do we really know that he is right at this point?
We don't. And the other thing is the two teams who he's possibly going to face, the A's and the Yankees, are two of the most patient teams. So they're going to wait him out. They're going to try to run his pitch count out. We've talked all day about the Yankees and their strike zone knowledge and how they stay in the zone. And the A's aren't bad either. So they'll wait him out and they'll run his pitch count up. And then it gets to, if they do have a lead, how do they get the ball to Kimbrel? Who's it going to be? Rodriguez, Wright, all these guys, Hembree, Barnes. How do we get the ball to Craig Kimbrel? And we saw it last year in the playoffs. He had to do more than a 1-inning save, and he struggled with that. So will they ask him, will Alex Cora ask him to get 5 outs, say, in a big game? And will he be able to do that?
Now the Red Sox pitchers currently on the roster have a combined 0-13 with a 5.99 earned run average in 19 career postseason starts. 9 starts by Price, 4 by both Rick Porcello and Joe Kelly. 1 each by Sale and Drew Pomerantz being the other. The postseason has not been the best spot. Here are the numbers for the big 3 really for the Red Sox heading into the postseason in the past. What that means, not sure.
It doesn't mean anything. Maybe Price because he has more of a track record, but it's a new every year's a new postseason. You learn things, and Price has been throwing the ball really well. Maybe for Sale because he hasn't been healthy, but the other guys.
And Phillips strikes out for the first out of the bottom of the 9th. Let's go to Mike Hill in the studio for a game break. Mike, thanks very much. As a chance to get Chapman into this game in a save situation, so Aaron Boone's going to do just that. The pitching change from Fenway. Inning so far. Chapman comes in what is now a save situation. It's turned into one, and not a bad spot to have him come in and get some work.
Well, absolutely, as he obviously had some knee trouble and spent some time on the DL. Still waiting for that velocity to get back up above 100 miles an hour. Has been throwing a lot more sliders as of late, and pretty good ones as well, which probably will serve him well in the long run. No longer just a power one-pitch pitcher, especially against left-handed batters. He will throw that slider.
He's had his problems with the Red Sox. Jumps ahead here, 0-2 of Mitch Moreland.
Right on cue, there's the slider, David, that you talked about. See the awkward swing. When you're expecting 100, you get an 84 slider. It's tough as a hitter.
Well, we've seen a steady diet of really good quality sliders, and there's one, a swing and a miss from Aroldis Chapman. It's almost like he's got a new toy now, and he's loving using it. Be interesting to see how Aaron Boone uses him in the postseason. He's used him over the last couple of weeks in the 6th or 7th inning at times.
Moreland staying alive here, has never had success against Chapman. 0 for 7 against him in his career.
There's not a whole lot of lefties that have had success off Chapman. 100 mile an hour with that slider, it's a tough at bat.
See the last 3 games, pretty impressive.
Swing and a miss, and makes him look bad on that cut. Comes in and strikes out Mitch Moreland for out number 2 of the 9th inning.
Well, another really good looking slider, and you can see, as AJ says, when you throw 100 miles an hour and your slider starts off like it's gonna be right down the middle and then down and away, unhittable.
Nothing you can do as a hitter. There's no way you can look for both those pitches. A 100 mile an hour fastball and an 85 mile an hour slider. It's impossible. And like you said, a new toy. Well, if you're a left-handed hitter facing Aroldis Chapman, it's the last thing you want to see.
Well, the Yankees are sitting on 99 wins, a victory away from their 100th. Runner takes second on the defensive indifference, as Travis takes second base. And Kinsler took ball 1. Kinsler aboard 3 times in this game, 2 walks and a double. (8-5). Yankees have the lead with 2 down in the 9th inning. Not close, missing in 97.
The Yankees may have 3 of the most unhittable relievers in Betances, Chapman, and Britton. But sometimes all 3 of those pitchers lose the strike zone, as we saw in last night's game.
Well, after striking out Moreland, he's fallen behind. Kinsler 3-0. And there's strike 1. Right at the bottom of the zone.
Kinsler's going to be taking this pitch too, I think. Down 3, his run means nothing. Even if it's a home run, they're still down, so he needs to get on base. Should take this pitch also.
It would bring the tying run to the plate. And it will bring the tying run to the plate. And Jackie Bradley Jr. So a strikeout and a walk for Chapman after coming in. Jackie Bradley Jr. with a double back in the 2nd inning. It was an RBI double, a 1-for-4 day today. Travis at second, Kinsler at first with 2 down in the Boston ninth. Already scored twice on the 2-run home run by Brock Holt. And Chapman taking a while trying to figure out what it is he wants to throw here. Ball 1.
This is what we've seen from Chapman over the last couple of weeks, that he will go to the slider, as he almost has had better command with that pitch.
In there for a strike.
There you go.
Bradley Jr. didn't like that at all. Says some stuff to Manny Gonzalez. That's Cora joining the conversation from his spot in the dugout.
Maybe a little bit low, maybe inside, but I think Alex Cora doesn't want to win this game.
From the side, it's always up and down. You can't really tell on the plate from that view, but you can tell low.
That's strike 2. Well, that didn't appear to be a strike either.
That one was outside. From our vantage point right above home plate, that one definitely was outside. Even the Fox box showed it outside. And now what? You're Jackie Bradley Jr. You've seen 2 sliders, both of which are questionable calls, and now you're in deep trouble.
Bouncing in. 2-2.
There's your 100 miles an hour. You asked for it, Coney. You just got it. Got to throw a slider right here, don't you? You have to.
Probably his best chance to throw a strike right now is with the slider, or get it close enough to the zone to entice Bradley to go for it.
Seems so strange to say about Chapman. They've been living for a long time on the fastball. Two pitch. He struck him out, and the Yankees have grabbed their 100th win. Chapman strikes out 2, as it turns out, and the Yankees hold on to win this one 8-5 at Fenway Park today. Now, the first season in history, both teams will reach 100 wins, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Coming up next, we'll send it to Chicago for coverage. Number 14, Michigan at Northwestern, right after these messages.